Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. Wow, I haven't said that in a while. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and this is the Nerdrotic Nooner. Welcome to Hump Day, everybody. We got a few things to talk about. It's been a while since I've done a Nooner, since Sunday. I did a very special Nooner with Bowles Trek, which can be found on nerdrotic.com. Sometimes they stay in the channel, sometimes they don't. It depends on the algorithm, but that was one of the better Nooners, so please do check it out. Bowles Trek is awesome. Please subscribe to his channel. He's been on fire lately with some great videos. And I was even a cameo in one of them because he wants to save me from the state that I'm in, no, physically, not the personal state. I'm fine, but the state of California, which is insane. And I look forward to leaving it someday. And yes, it's noon. It's noonish. It's 1:37 p.m. That's a pretty early start for me. Yeah, Captain Kirk didn't do nothing. So yeah, we're going to do some toxic mailbag. My office is a complete mess because I'm rearranging, although you can't tell right now because I'm not rearranging the parts that you can see as of yet. But I will be getting to some toxic mailbag, and I just picked the letters that I could find. There are some that are somewhere else that I can't find that I will do on Friday. So I won't forget you guys because a lot of you guys have sent me email letters and stuff like this. Thanks, Bird of Prey 5, for sending me a Make Klingons Great Again. And it says Kapla on the back. That's pretty badass. But I just got back from the gym. I'm doing housework. I'm just going to wear my ratty hat right now. So, yes, so much has happened. Of course, we have Game of Thrones being submitted for a writing award for the Emmys, and you can't blame them because they'll probably win because it's a meaningless award. It's just funny. Sophie Turner has had a bad few weeks. I'd say about 4 or 5 weeks. She was on top of the world starting in April. Man, she's in one of the biggest series of all time. She's going to be in what people thought. I never thought Dark Phoenix would do well at all. It's doing exactly how I thought it would do, and I think most of you out there too. But the normies probably thought it would be a blockbuster. No, the trailer sucked. Everything looked bad about it. There's a lot of reasons that film failed, and it turns out Disney is probably mostly the blame for the failure. So, wow. Isn't it great to have a company that could absorb $120 million? That's not too big. Listen, I'm not an anti-corporation, anti-business person. I very much love the capitalistic system. I am a small business owner. And I like making cheddar. And I like being able to do it on my own with very little people telling me what to do. It's a very nice thing. But for a while, I didn't mind doing it with a boss. I just got over it pretty quickly, actually. So I didn't put it in the title, but we need to talk about Men in Black because I think they're trolling us. They're doing the typical 2019 wham and power. Tessa Thompson, I'm sorry, has no range. I've seen her in 3 things, and she's played, I've seen her in the trailer for Men in Black. So I've seen her in Westworld. I've seen her in, of course, Endgame and Ragnarok. And I've seen her in the trailer for Men in Black, and it's the same character. That smirky, hard-living, badass, smart, infallible woman. She was kind of fallible in Westworld, but she was infallible but evil. And then she becomes a more infallible person when, of course, I don't want to spoil it. You really don't want to see Westworld season 2, though. It's pretty bad. But Bounding into Comics put up a pretty good article today. Was it today? I think it was today. About the Men in Black thing, and we will go to it. Let's get the Bounding into Comics here real quick. Oh, and also we have Doctor Who winning an award that even Bowles Trek hadn't heard of, and he lives in Canada. It's a Rocky, and I guess it's like an award show that they have up in the mountains while people are getting stoned and skiing. Alleged set photo from DC Universe's Stargirl heavily implies series set in same universe as Titans and Doom Patrol. I would figure that. Uh, Men in Black International Rotten Tomatoes score is chilling next to X-Men Dark Phoenix in a dumpster fire. Well, that's what the point I was going to get to. So the reason I think they're trolling us and Hollywood is scrambling, I think reshooting stuff. This is just my opinion, pure speculation, because they saw the outrage or what movement marketing. Movement marketing has been going on for quite some time now. First woman this, first thing that, trying to create outrage on the internet so people are talking about it, and there's no such thing as bad publicity. And with Captain Marvel's results, who could argue? But it wasn't the outrage or Brie Larson. We all know it was the placement in between two of the biggest sequels of all time. So we have bounding into comics, and we have Tessa Thompson, who plays the same character in everything we've ever seen with her. And let me get to my... there we go. All right. Tessa Thompson took to the red carpet for the premiere of Men in Black International, where she stated that her character, Agent M, will, well, it should be Agent W, shouldn't it? Will work to get the Men in Black to change their name. Thompson's statement after she was asked by Variety, what do you think about the title then? Because obviously Men in Black is a known franchise as a title. But were there any other ideas since you are a woman? I'm glad they pointed that out because I would have never guessed. But I guess we're not allowed to assume these days. We're not allowed to assume or have our own opinions on that matter, because if we do, we can get deplatformed on Twitter, maybe even deplatformed here. I'm not entirely sure. And while I know I'm gonna stick to we're not gonna pick on other YouTubers, so I'm not gonna call out somebody's name, but apparently there's science behind this. So if you make a mistake and refer to somebody with the wrong pronoun, you are denying their existence. Okay. Thompson responded, well, I think the first of all, we wanted to make sure that people know that this is the franchise they know and love, because it is. Do people know and love the Men in Black? I mean, the Men in Black, it was a good movie. It has one of my favorite lines in a movie that, I'm going to paraphrase it, is, a person is smart, people are dumb. Well, certainly when it comes to blue check marks, I would agree with that. Okay. So, but is it really loved? I just think it's, they're desperately going back to the well because we're just in oversaturated franchise mode. I mean, is it a franchise? Really? I don't, I don't recall like kids growing up on it. And I remember it being a decent movie that people go, hey, that was pretty good. I liked it. But I don't think there might be somebody out there. There always is, but I don't think there's gobs of people with, Men in Black rooms, like dedicated to the Men in Black merchandise and stuff. Yeah. I just don't see it. And my presence in it, because I'm a woman. Well, I'm glad they brought that up twice, because I forgot since the last time they told me, shouldn't diminish the fact that we're making a movie very much in the same tone and style of the original films, but we're trying to change it fundamentally, like we've been doing with Doctor Who, like we've been doing with Star Wars, like we've been doing with Marvel Comics, and so on and so forth. We are trying to hijack brands, give you another model to force agenda. And now, because you've burned through everything else, we want to go to Men in Black. Wow. She continues, but I think Emma Thompson has a brilliant quip in the movie. Oh, it's so brilliant. Where I say Men in Black because I'm confused. Is this the title of an organization? And she goes, I know. I've had conversations. It's taking time. Thompson adds, I think when she speaks to, which is funny, but true. Is it funny? No. Is the change happens sometimes faster than we have language to describe what change has occurred. Yeah, I have language to describe what has occurred, forced. Insofar as we have had certain institutions, oh boy, here we come. Intersectional institutions, istophobe, yay, that have antiquated ways of working. It almost feels like there's people who have trained Hollywood actors because they're very good at being trained because they can't be humans, and humans don't talk this way. And so they have training. They're just like these autons that are just being programmed at this point. Oh, the intersectional feminism of the istophobe is an institutional blah 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 blah. Insofar that, as with certain institutions that have antiquated ways of working, yeah, counterpart the surrealism of the underlying metaphor. Hollywood is certainly one of them. Where we don't have the infrastructures to support the change that is actually happening. Hollywood doesn't have the infrastructure to support the change that is actually happening. You mean propaganda? You are the infrastructure of propaganda. Oh, you have all the tools at your command that you are using as much as possible. And for those of us who just say, hey, you know, can we just be entertained? Because I actually don't care what a meat puppet thinks about things. And that's pretty much what an actor is. I think what she is speaking to here is that there's always been representation in the organization. It hasn't always been reflected in the title. The title that was hijacked from the UFO movement, the one that they didn't come up with, the one that has lore, the one that has, well, you could call it urban legend. There's people who, myself being one of them, who believe that they might exist. Thompson then notes Agent M, it should be Agent W, will work to change the title of the organization if they decide to make more movies. Well, considering what I'm hearing about this film and considering this marketing, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that very much, because as with the Predator and the Terminator, they are not really franchises. They are in comic books and other stuff, and I don't want to argue about that. But in the film, they are action movies centered around action stars. Will Smith, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's it. And maybe if we make more, maybe that will change. And certainly, I think Agent M sticks around the organization long enough. She will probably push some buttons to make it change. And frankly, that's the only way that things change. No, actually, no. Things change naturally. The change is not forced. It's brought up, it's debated. But when you tend to force things on any human being of any type, their first reaction of most, unless you're a kneeler, is to resist. I hate to use that word. People on the inside that have real stake, really calling the institutions out. Oh my God, look at that facial expression. Tessa Thompson explains why it's still called Men in Men in Black. And, part of this is the Access Media, okay, which is not who wrote this article. Oh, the future Pulitzer Prize winner, John F. Trent, my co-host for Swamp Thing Reviews, which is really good. And it's going to be on his channel next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thompson's comments are eerily similar to the Marvel Studios producer Victoria Alonso, who stated the name X-Men was outdated. Yeah, what a funny coincidence. I'm sure that's all it was. This is not coordinated at all. The Men in Black movie franchise, and I'm doing air quotes, is based off the comic book series created by Lowell Cunningham, which is the first series illustrated by Sandy Carruthers. And it was a Malibu comic, I believe, and it is a Marvel comic. The first series, which consisted of 3 issues, was originally published by, it's Arkell Comics. A second series would be published by Malibu Comics. Marvel Comics would eventually acquire Malibu Comics and publish a number of one-shot comics when the first Men in Black film was released. Here's a look at the opening page of the original Men in Black covers. See, that's cool. That is cool. Doesn't that one on the left kind of look like the Orange Man a little bit? I'm going to get these aliens. Okay. Thompson stars in Men in Black International as Agent M alongside Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, the co-star Chris Hemsworth, the reason people will go see this movie if there's one at all. The movie hits theaters June 14th. What do you make of Thompson's comments regarding the Men in Black name? Unsurprising, basic, repeated, forced. Boring, just like the movie's going to be. Yeah, sorry you had to sit through that. Well, it was well written by my good friend John F. Trent. We're friends now. I can say we're friends. And hi, everybody. How's it going? All right, well, we'll get to you, and then we're going to get to the Game of Thrones mockery here. Chris Hemsworth plays an idiot in the film who wears pink pants and pants casually by choice, says Austin Woods. Yeah, he's probably going to, it's probably going to be like his Ghostbusters 2016, which I've got to say, I've only seen 15 minutes of. I couldn't get through it. Doomcock was going to do a watch party for his Patreon. This was like a year and a half ago, and I was going to participate, and I couldn't get through it. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. But I don't know. Should I go watch this movie and review it? I probably should. Halam 899. It's his first time watching. Fist bump, buddy. There you go. Yeah, first time today. Surely Men in Black is both sexist and racist, says Colin P. Smith. Surely. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I didn't do that very well. All right, we got a super chat from Silhouetted Animator, $2. The main man, Lobo, is getting his own show. Is it spun out of Krypton? Because if it is, no thanks. If he's getting his own show in the DC universe and it's run by Swamp Thing Doom Patrol people, sign me up. I'm there. Chris Persia, Canadian $5. By the way, I want to tell all my Canadian friends, I was just giving you a hard time on Twitter. I was not serious at all. I love Canada. Every part of it, even the people who don't love me. But that's okay. It's the story of my life. Love given, but never returned. It's not really true. Shatner's Twitter trolls are proving themselves to be mental Cronenbergs. Welcome to Dimension C137. Yeah, you know what? Let them do it. Twitter drama is something I do not participate in. I can't say I totally understand what started it, because what happens if I don't follow everybody who started the stuff, I have to go like look for where the first tweet was, and that was just and I think some of them are deleted. So somebody said that they would rather Leonard Nimoy be alive than William Shatner, which is a foul statement that people are allowed to make. We are about free speech. And they are also allowed to get clapback. And that's the way it goes. But this person, I think, has deleted their Twitter account, or somebody said, there's been a couple things said. I don't know all of it. I know Doomcock did a video. Mecha did a video. I watched both videos at the gym. And yeah, I don't know what started it. But it was one of the tweets was affiliated with some kind of podcast. And now the person has quit the podcast and everything. You know, person who made statement, you don't need to quit your podcast. Don't let yourself get bullied off Twitter. Even if you said something idiotic, just say, hey, I said something idiotic. Take the heat for a little while and it'll blow over. But if you go running, even, and this is the person who said something stupid to Shatner. And, you know, of course I don't endorse that. It's freaking idiocy. But if you just run, I mean, like, really, you just kind of look like a punk. You don't want to do that. Stay on, take the heat. If you feel bad about it, apologize. And if, you know, people are slinging, they're going to sling. You got to think about these things. But, you know, I've made some regrettable tweets back in the day, very regrettable. But yeah, they're there. I mean, nothing like James Gunn shit, but the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, £5. How much is that Dalek in the window? The one with the waggly stock. How much is that Dalek in the window? I'm not going to sing. I do hope that Dalek can talk. Which Dalek? I've got one hanging right there, and I've got my British flag 50th anniversary Dalek. Do I have one near me? Some right there. Which one? Daleks are simply one of the greatest villains, one of the greatest designs ever. I love the freaking pepper shaker. I love it. And I loved how they've retconned it. And oh, mailman's here. The mailman is here. My dog is letting me know. That's Nerdrotic dog number 1, the big one. Still holding out for a Hot Pie prequel series, says Liebermeister. Yes. Hot Pie of the Seven Kingdoms. You know, Hot Pie kind of won the Game of Thrones. He did. If you really think about it, Hot Pie won. Thank you, Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, for the £5. Thank you, Liebermeister, for $1.99. Let's get back to the chat here. And the mailman. Oh, God, that's a title, Veleron. We got to get rid of that. I mean, it's double masculinity. The mailman. Well, that's obviously outdated and a tool of the patriarchy. When he delivers my mail, the mailman only rings twice. Nerdrotic, Doggo, hologram nunchuck. What's up? Oh, by the way, Doggo reminds me. Hang on a second. I did make a promise. Hang on, I got to do some business here. I got to see if somebody's available. Okay. I got to make sure I have my headphones. Oh no. Like everything is so precariously. There they are. Okay, that's good. Give me just a second. In a sec. We'll see if we can get a guess. So, little business we have to do here first. I was going to do a charity stream today, and there's been mass chaos around my house. So we're going to push it to next week. So a week from today, we're going to do the charity stream, and we're going to be doing a charity for doggos, for Amelia Clark's brain injury. And we're also going to do, so it's going to be 3 charities we're going to be given to. It's Autism Speaks, Amelia Clark's charity, and the Husky Rescue. So we'll just, whatever proceeds we get from the super chats, I'll split 3 ways, and then I'll match a certain amount up to a certain amount, and whatever. I mean, even if we donate a few bucks, it's something, right? So I want to do that as an official 100,000 celebration. Again, we just passed 100,000, actually 103,000 now. So thank you, everybody. You guys rock. I was fully expecting the Dreckies to come at me. Honestly, I haven't been on Twitter long enough to see after my video yesterday. Anytime I do something from my insider, I do a video, I get a little clap back from that. But and please watch the video if you had. Darth Gorebag. I'll look into that. I'm not too sure. I'll before I do the charities officially, I will check them out. But my son is, so I've actually done stuff with them before and haven't had a problem, but I don't know if there's any scandals. I mean, I haven't checked lately. So if there's some scandals, I'll look into it. And then we'll find something else if it doesn't work. But I will, of course, before I do anything, there's ways to check out the charities to make sure they're legit. And if they're not, I will replace them with one that is. I will replace them, but definitely we want to take care of the doggos, man. I have 3 dogs myself. John Snowflake, well, they certainly turned him into that Kronos Chiron at the end of season 8. But it wasn't really Kit Harington's fault. Kit Harington going in the rehab, I think, is actually very good. I'm glad he did it. I'm not going to diss him for doing that. But I am doing a video. So, yeah, there's a couple videos I'm going to try, because usually I do like news reaction or whatever's on my mind. But I want to get back to doing ones like my Star Trek reviews. So I'm going to be there's like 2 or 3 that are going to take a couple weeks to make. And one of them is, and I've been talking about it for a while, is the vandalization of Jon Snow. And we're just going to go over like how the character pretty much mirrored the character from the books up until a certain point. Then they made some decisions, which I think I'm Monday morning quarterbacking, but I think they could have made some little tweaks that could have made it a little more satisfying in the end. So I think their biggest mistake, this is just, of course, this is just my opinion. I think their biggest mistake, Dan and Dave, was relying way too much on George and expecting him to have that book out so they could set Jon Snow on a path that clearly didn't happen. So they had to make it up on their own. and they had to get from point A to point Z without knowing anything in between. They were not talented enough to do it. And they, of that, on top of being kind of checked out, again, this is my opinion. And really, they felt, I think they took the fans for granted. I've said it a lot, and I'll continue to say it. I think they just took you guys for granted. And they did genre television a great disservice. We were this close. I mean, we've had, okay, I love Lord of the Rings. I think it's the greatest trilogy ever made. It won, I think all three of them should have won Best Picture, and they gave it to Return of the King. Great. So it's the one genre film, true genre film, that has won Best Picture. Not that we need their validation, because we don't. But it's arguably one of the greatest trilogies ever made too. And it's fantasy and it's genre. That's a good thing. And one of the greatest television shows ever made was almost a very expensive, sprawling, multi-character, intricate fantasy. And then it farted out at the end, which is a damn shame, because Hollywood doesn't want to make these expensive things. That's not their, well, I'm talking about the producers and the money people. The creatives do. The creatives most definitely do. That this is the most challenging work, and the most satisfying, and it's the most artistic. But I mean, it beats a drama, which is some guy crying in his kitchen table, for 2 hours. Yay. Really want to see that. But the producers, if they had their way, it would be a guy crying in a kitchen for 2 hours, being a blockbuster. That's what they want. They don't want to spend money. Bruce Campbell at an Evil Dead Q&A that he did here in San Francisco at the Castro Theater, which was brilliant, talked about superhero movies and said the first chance the producers get away from this kind of filmmaking, they're going to run, because it's costing Hollywood so much money. And right now, Hollywood is burning through reserves because they're trying to take on the streaming services, which have money to burn right now. Not forever, but money to burn. And it is going to be tough. All right, let's get back. Oh, dang it. Okay. Captain Spire, Omaha, Nebraska. Comic-Con, June 28th through 30th. Be there. I can't make it, unfortunately. I'd love to, but I got Comic-Con. Got Comic-Con in a month, and I need to plan for that. Well, you know what? I haven't even worked out where I'm staying, to be honest with you. Which, damn, I kind of waited too long on that one. I'm probably going to end up staying at my father-in-law's house, and which is pretty far north. So I'm going to have to wake up but early every morning. But yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Hi, Mr. B. By the way, thank you for the $2, Captain Spire. It's good to see you. And thank you for the coffee. Oh, man. Okay, I'll do that the next Toxic Mailbag. But Captain Spire sent me a crap load of coffee, like a box. So I am set. It's brilliant. Sean Kesey for £5. Hi, Mr. B. What's your favorite sci-fi ship? For me, X-Bomber from 80 series Starfleet. Kick-ass Godzilla Sunday. Will I enjoy it? Kicked ass. I didn't see it, Sean. I haven't seen it, and I was talked out of seeing it. But I probably will this week, so I can't say. I know some people have liked it, and some people have not. My favorite sci-fi ship is a very, very boring answer. It's the Enterprise. Starship Enterprise. It's a beautiful thing. But I also like the battleship Yamamoto from, I think I'm saying that right, from Star Blazers. That's one of my favorite. I also like the Orville and the Rocinante, which is right here from 3D Trekker. Yes. But yeah, it's such a boring answer. Oh, of course, the TARDIS. Obian 27883 for $20. Please tell me Doctor Who won the top show award. It deserves it after a quality programming. Then next, please tell me the award show it won all the awards from the Razzies. I hope I hope it shared the honor with STD. I don't know who won the Razzies this year. It certainly, we did the Nerdrotic Awards, and Star Trek Discovery beat out Doctor Who as worst show. And we will do the Nerdrotic Awards again. Well, we do a negative award show and a positive award show. We do the Rorys, which are based on Douglas Adams' Rory, which is the best usage of the word fuck in a series screenplay. And then we do the Uranus Awards. We did the Uranus Awards, and Star Trek Discovery almost a clean sweep of the Uranus Awards. Yeah, Doctor Who won some too, and it was all voted on by my patrons. So Obion 27883, thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Bradman for $5. Missed your 3 a.m. live stream. Well, it was 12 a.m. for me. It was 6 a.m. in Buffalo, and I needed my Tim Hortons crack. LOL. We also need more UFO discussion. Love them. Yes. So on my other channel, Nerdrotic Live, I did a live stream covering the show Unidentified and Ancient Aliens. Go check it out. I did it in the middle of the night, and there was a bunch of you there. That was cool. But I was tired the next day. Rambling Canuck, Canadian $5. Hail, Gary, might be wrong of me to ask, but I am new to making videos. It's not wrong of you to ask anything. If you get a chance, please check out a video I have done. Any input will be great. Sure. Let me get to your channel and bookmark it real quick. Doop-a-doo. There you are. Rambling Canuck. All right. It is bookmarked. And we are good. So I will check it out after the show. No problem. No problem at all. Oh, man, I just jumped on me. Okay, Bjorn for 20 Swedish crowns. My pronoun is His Majesty. Go nuts, weirdos. There are a bunch of weirdos, aren't they? Brett Baratheon for $4.99. The Emmy nomination for Game of Thrones makes me sick, Gary. Happy not finished all of The Expanse. So amazing. Happy it's back. Happy note. Finished all of The Expanse. So amazing. Happy it's coming back this fall. This channel is the best ever. Congrats. Thank you so much, Brett Baratheon, and back at you. Yes, The Expanse is one of the greatest shows on television. Now, I am the video I'm currently working on is not for this channel. I've got to get back to work on it after this live stream. It is an Orville video for Jeremy. I have about half of it done. So he should have it tonight sometime. So if you're watching Jeremy, you should have it tonight. And it's just me trying to talk you into watching the Orville. But yeah, The Expanse is brilliant. And I can't wait for it to come back. And it is the heir apparent to Game of Thrones as long as it doesn't go effing woke. Because everything is in danger of doing that now. Because I think we're kind of in the end game of all this bullshit. There's so much clapback. And I saw Jeremy's video on Tim Allen today. And, Twitter's useless. Twitter's useless. Apparently Tim Allen said he doesn't know how to play the card game Spades. And that makes him a racist. And go watch Jeremy's video on it, Geeks and Gamers. It's that ridiculous, and people piled on him, and yeah. Captain Spire, $5. Good Wednesday, Gary. Remember when they tried to make an all-girls Lord of the Flies? Then someone actually read the story and said, "Oh wait, yep, I do remember that." I'm telling you, we need an all-female Saving Private Ryan, and then we need an actual all-female war. The next war needs to be female-led. The dudes will sit this one out, and we'll see what happens. Svi Lebetkin, what's up, man? $4.99. Saw the first episode of the new season of Black Mirror. Horrible. One of the weakest episodes of the series, and one to skip. I've been hesitant to watch Black Mirror because it's been creeping into woke territory for me. Gamer Gambit, $5. That's terrible to hear those, Fee. Gamer Gambit, $5. Good Omens, mostly fantastic with moments of ugh that was lame. Totally agree. Cheered when they shut the girl up. Tenet is still the best, and now I want that car. Good Omens was good because of Michael Sheen and David Tennant. All right. Those two together have like the most brilliant natural chemistry. And it also shows you like how much we miss Doctor Who. I think a lot of the show, if it's successful, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you half the people watch that show over here in the States because David Tennant, because of the Doctor. They probably weren't that aware of Terry Pratchett or Good Omens. The only reason I was aware of Terry Pratchett is because somebody said, "Do you like Douglas Adams? Try Terry Pratchett." Okay. Um, Neil Gaiman's hit and miss with me. He is a comic book writer who does novels. They're very different writing. One is not better than the other, although I prefer comic books. But yeah, Gaiman's hit and miss with me. Pratchett's pretty damn brilliant, and he will be missed. He's greatly missed. And I liked the show. I mostly liked it. There was moments of absolute ugh, but there isn't everything now. And that's really the thing I'm having a little trouble with in the Orville video that I'm trying to convince, Jeremy's audience, which is pretty close to my audience, I would guess. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of difference. But we have different takes on things, but I'm trying to sell Jeremy's audience on a show that, yeah, it's got like little moments of, I wouldn't call woke, of more progressivism, but it's done in allegory and it does show both sides of the argument. There's one episode in particular, you guys know what I'm talking about, and gals, about a girl, which is a brilliant episode that shows like 8 sides to an argument. It's brilliant. Richard Wetfuss for $5. Do you live stream with OBS or just with your camera on YouTube? Just with my camera on YouTube. I keep it very simple. I can't OBS yet because I'm on a Mac and it's pretty useless when working with like my camera. To update my camera, I have to hook it up to a PC to change the settings and then bring it back to the Mac. OBS on a Mac, you can't get any sound coming out other than my microphone. I can't play a video and you would hear the sound. I can't do that on a Mac, but I can do it on a PC. Definitely going to a PC next month. I got to wait till next YouTube payday. And but yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going down. I got a roof to fix at the house, which is like the worst timing ever, but that's how it goes. There's never good timing to buy a new roof. Okay. Ever. Mike Brown for $2. New mug for Atlantis Chronicles, giving one to you. Awesome. And I got your book. I'll is it near me? It's not near. Yeah, it is. Here, right here. The Atlantis Chronicles, The Courtum Party. So that is an author in the chat right there. This is available on Amazon. And Mike sent me this. It's got a great cover. I love that cover. Sweet. It's like a real book. All right. There's another Doctor Who topic we're going to be talking about. And I've been kind of going back and forth on whether to make a video. And you guys can tell me if my spiel is good enough to make a video on. But it's about Gareth Edwards and his sacking. And I've learned everything I can about the situation so I can actually have an opinion on it. Our good friend Bowles Trek has done a great video on it. My opinion won't be, I don't think, any different from his, but there's been videos made by other people. And I just think there's been some, while everybody's entitled their opinion here on YouTube, I want you to have a platform. I will never deny your opinion. I will argue it though. I will argue it, and you can argue mine. That's great. Care for a jelly belly, and he's got Ford Prefect as an avatar. Thank you very much. £2, 6 pints of bitter, please. The world's about to end. Really? How long? Just about 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Cold. I know I got that wrong, but I'm trying to go off the top of my head. Cold Fusion. Arthur. Cold Fusion waffles, $2. Parcel person, how will they mandate that change? Well, they will. Don't think they won't. Fireman. They're going to go after Fireman, Policeman, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. It's never, ever, ever, ever going to stop until we decide we have had enough of this bullshit. And part of it is this is a personal decision, so I'm going to just use I statements here. I've been YouTubing for a while. I had a co-host. I wanted to kind of ride the fence. I didn't want to really get involved in politics. I didn't want to get involved with the SJW, NPC stuff. I didn't want any part of it. All right. I just wanted to enjoy my entertainment. But as time went on, it started bugging me more and more and more. Like, I've always been able to put up with a certain amount. I used to own a comic store, and I'm pretty easy to please. All right. You can't be a good bookseller, toy seller, comic book seller, or seller of any kind if you hate most everything, or you just like are. Yeah, I kind of like most stuff. Pretty easy to please. Like I said, there was very few comics I did not like. I could always find something good in a comic book. But that has certainly changed in the last 5 years. And that's how bad things have gotten. I mean, you guys, of course, didn't know me before, but if you did, you would understand. Like, I used to like a lot of comic books, and I can barely read anything from Marvel now. And it's not that I've changed in the last 5 years. It's if they've changed drastically. TV and film have done the same, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So I, at one point, was mulling over what it was Doctor Who. It was Doctor Who that caused all of this. When Jodie Whittaker was announced as a female doctor, I was pissed. My very first reaction was, they fucking did it. And it was mainly over, I knew what direction the show was going to go, because you could see it. It was already happening, and they were telegraphing this. It's almost like Stephen Moffat was like forced to write that way. And he's like, I'm trying to warn you guys, like, what we're going to get. Because Moffat certainly changed at some point. And it's because he was taken to task for being a sexist, which is completely erroneous and false, but he's kind of thin-skinned. He took it hard. He rage quit Twitter, and his writing completely changed. Or there was a BBC mandate. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of both. Jodie gets announced as doctor. This was just when my son, my youngest son, was getting back into Doctor Who. So we were sitting down, we were watching like 2 or 3 episodes a day. He was going through my action figures, asking me questions, like he would be going through this book right here. And, we were just having the best time. Then they announced Jodie, and he's like, I'm done. It wasn't any prompting from me. It was, he was barely interested in the Capaldi stuff, to be honest with you. It was very hard to sell Capaldi to a young American audience. I cannot speak for the UK audience. They might look at it a little differently, but I will tell you that the audience for Doctor Who here in the States started eroding because of Capaldi and the writing. Now, I think they could have kept some of the kids, but they were mostly, having a younger doctor definitely brought in a younger audience here in the States. So that announcement was made. I was pissed, but I didn't say anything about it. I didn't say a goddamn thing about it. And I'm like, I'm going to wait and see. So I just wanted to wait and see. So I did. I waited, and I reviewed every episode. And I think I gave the first one a chance. I'm like, all right, because the first one out of all of season 11 was, I'm not going to say it's a good episode, but it was the best. And then the second episode happened, and then the third, and you can see in my reviews, I'm starting to lose my shit as time goes on. In the fourth episode, I just came out and said, gloves are off. This thing sucks. It's filled with agenda and SJW. And I just, blah, 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 blah. And after that, it was just a roast fest after that. And what was interesting was, even though I wasn't loving it from the beginning, it was kind of split in my live streams. Now, there was only a couple hundred people watching, which is still brilliant. Okay. It's brilliant. But it seemed pretty split. But as time went on, I was getting less and less downvotes, and yeah. And then the floodgates opened. Captain Marvel happened, and it's been it's been a great year for the channel and a crappy year for entertainment. Look at the box. Like, Men in Black I think it's going to bomb. I think it's going to bomb hard. Look at Dark Phoenix. Look at everything outside of an MCU film. The movies, they're dying. This is the worst summer I have seen in 20 years, maybe ever. I mean, like we got Spider-Man, by all accounts, a mediocre Godzilla, which I haven't seen, a horrible Dark Phoenix, a terrible Captain Marvel. So we've had Endgame. I mean, usually I every summer I would have 5 or 6 movies penned I would want to see, like no matter what. We had John Wick too. I don't want to take away John Wick. But what do we have? I mean, it's terrible. TV, that's why I focus on television. It's just better. You know, we still have Legion coming out. Legion's pretty brilliant. Swamp Thing is God, so I can't stop thinking about how good it is and and I'm trying not to think of what a bummer it is that it's canceled. These freaking idiots. They finally make something good and they cancel it. So there's no hope. There's no hope for comic book films, but where the least hope is Doctor Who. Doctor Who cannot be fixed. It will not be fixed. Nobody's going to come in and save it. You know, I have this. I'm going to push this petition that Chris Persia. Did you make the petition? Peter Dinklage is the Doctor, and I want to add Charles Dance as the Master. And yeah, I want to, but it's never going to happen because the BBC owns Doctor Who, and they don't need to make a lot of money. They need money to produce it, but they can really just stop making it and live off of Big Finish and all this stuff. I recently went down a rabbit hole of trying to find out like what's happening with the Doctor Who merchandise. I've been trying to reach out to people, and it's been tough to find out some stuff, but I found out some stuff. I found out a little bit that the merchandise is clearly not selling. Things are getting canceled. It's not a healthy show. But my guess is Big Finish. I look over here because this is where all my Big Finish are. My guess is these guys are doing great. They're doing fantastic because while there's still like woke stuff in it's not terrible and it's like original cast and it's proper Doctor Who. Doctor Who's lost. It's absolutely lost. It's never going to get fixed. The BBC is not going to change. They're not going to change how they're going to do things. So we're going to ride this out. This will probably be what my guess is. This is Jodie and Chris Chibnall's last season. Then you have to wait 2 years for a new Doctor. But whoever the new Doctor is, it'll probably be woke as hell. I doubt they'll dial that stuff back because of just what I've heard from the BBC. Like they just don't think they're wrong. They don't think they've done anything wrong. They definitely think it's the audience. They think they are more evolved than the audience. They actually think that we made this Doctor and it's some kind of really there's no depth to it at all. It's superficial as hell, but they just think they are on top of everything over this move of changing the Doctor to a female, which is the most basic move, then not even exploring that whatsoever. Superficial politics, alienating half their audience, but they're like, that was awesome. Okay, losing half your audience, and you couldn't even win an award in the UK. And the episode Rosa was made for that. And they had to make, by the way, I didn't do a video on this. They had to make up an award for Rosa. There's some visionary award that they just made up this year so they could give it to Rosa. And yeah, not listening to the goddamn audience once. They listen to some. All right, there's some YouTubers out there. I'm not going to say they're all shills, but I'm guessing 1 or 2 of them works with or for the BBC in some aspect. So that's pretty shill. You would be less shill if you were honest about it, but whatever. I don't care. It's just a bummer because I don't think it's going to change in 5 years. I don't think it's going to change in 10. So I am resigned to just enjoying what I got. There's 50 years of stuff. I haven't read all the books. I haven't listened to all the Big Finish. So I'll just do that. That's fine. I'm going to try very hard not to give the BBC money directly, but apparently, with Big Finish, I guess I am because I'm subscribed to them. Let's get back there. Our next Husky will be named Snowflame. Dude, Matt Joseph, $2. By the way, Matt Joseph. That reminds me, it's around here somewhere. Matt Joseph sent me something. Ah, yes. Here we go. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it, Matt Joseph. I got two things. Now, Matt, the thank you card for this one got lost. So if you didn't send this one and somebody else did, please tell me, okay? Because it didn't come with a little thing. But hey, Gary, just a little something for you and Nerdrotic Jr. to enjoy. Congrats, advance on the upcoming 100,000 subscriber, Matt Joseph. Well, we made it, and he sent me and okay, me and Junior are going to sit down and watch this weekend. This is an all-time favorite of mine. So yes, they used to show this all the time on Channel 5 in LA, because in San Diego we get LA stations, and a great patch that I have a jacket that has patches all over it. How'd you know? It's my old red cap jacket when I used to turn wrenches for a living. So it says, not all those who wander are lost. Little LOTR there, which is brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you, Matt Joseph. Yes, you get a white dog, you need to name it Snowflame. We need a Snowflame fan film. I think that'd be pretty funny. A rookie critic can make that. He wants to make movies. Thank you, Matt Joseph. Thank you, Cold Fusion Waffles, and Care for a Jelly Baby. Thank you so much. Will I Am Bo for $5. Do you think Andrew McClay from Game of Thrones documentary will be cast as an actor? The cool guy? Is that the guy with the big beard? Who does the Irish guy who was doing the tours? I think he'll get a gig. He was so great to watch. Like, of all the bad of season 8, I felt bad, because when you see guys like that who are just an extra, and he just he looked cool as hell. So I hope he gets lots of roles. He deserves it, just based on his positive energy alone, and making that horrible Game of Thrones documentary good because of him. All Out of Bubblegum, $5. Good day, Gary. It seems like Hollywood is trying and doing it to make those fake movie trailers from the beginning of Tropic Thunder. You know, it's funny. Anytime you see a Hollywood parody, and it just tends to come to life. Running Man looked like a ridiculous movie at one time, and we get closer and closer to it. Demolition Man looked like a ridiculous movie. We get closer and closer to it. Can you see automatically generated tickets for cursing out in public? I can see that happening now. But unfortunately, my oldest son, I always told him, you will know it's time for the revolution when they start ticketing people for speech. Well, it's happening. Bill Kittleman for $2. Quentin Tarantino doing Star Trek rated R. You think? I would love to see it. I would, out of pure curiosity. But I don't think it'll happen. There's too much going on. Viacom is about to merge with CBS again. Quentin Tarantino's deal is with JJ Star Trek. And did you notice when they did the interview and he was commenting on it, he didn't mention that at all. Didn't say Bad Robot or anything. All Out of Bubblegum for $5. If an all-female war does happen, will Jello be involved? Because I would watch that war film. Well, if we could really solve all our problems with a little Jello wrestling, I think the world would actually be a better place. But I think there's some out there who would rather have them battle, like literally battle. But I would love for all the world's problems to be solved through Jello wrestling. Nerve Herder for $5. Where do you recommend a total Doctor Who noob begin watching the series? I would begin with the 2005 series with Chris Eccleston. Even though that has aged a little bit, to me, it is still absolutely brilliant. And if you like it, if you make it through Tenet, I would stop 2 years into Matt Smith. And if you like all of that, then I would start dipping back into classic Doctor Who. And this is how I did it. So I watched Tom Baker, whatever they showed on PBS. So they would show a little bit of Peter Davison, a little bit of Third Doctor, a lot of Tom Baker. I don't remember seeing Sylvester McCoy. I remember seeing parts of Trial of the Time Lord, maybe. That was a long time ago. But the new series really got me going again. And then I went back and started at the Third Doctor and watched everything in order in a very short amount of time. And I've done it. It's been on repeat. Where I'm the weakest is the First and Second Doctor. They don't have all the episodes out, but try it that way. I would try with the new series because you have to learn the charm of the Doctor, because the older stuff is just, it's hard to sell to some people because it's paper mache bad guys, but I love it because the creativity is brilliant. They really did so much great work on no money at all, and I loved it. Blue Wide Scorpion for $1.99. You read tweets a lot. I don't want to bombard you. Do I read tweets a lot? No, I read most of the ones where I'm included. Does that make sense? I'm not a big Twitter. I spend, it used to be a half hour a day, but now I've limited it to an hour a day. So I'll go on for 1 hour and try to read everything I can. I don't catch everything because it's too easy for me to get involved. And I promise you, back in 2008, 9, and 10, I was nasty on Twitter. I was really nasty on Twitter. And it was like comic book stuff. So I've never been a big fan. So the fan bashing has actually been going on for quite some time on Twitter. It was never much of a big thing. It's become more of a pastime now. But one of the biggest disappointments of owning a comic store is meeting not your heroes, but meeting the creatives in the comic book industry. Some of them are extremely nice, normal people who just want to draw comics, but there is a large contingency of very neurotic, self-loathing people. It's a self-loathing industry. It's always been a self-loathing industry. It's an industry where most of the creatives have one foot out the door. They want to make a movie or do something else or have a script. And this goes way back. This goes back before the Hollywood stuff. We lost an entire generation of people who just wanted to draw comics. John Byrne just wanted to draw comic books. That's all he's ever wanted to do. He's never wanted to go on to the movies or anything. I mean, that's all he's ever wanted to do. John Byrne was one of the first people to get run off of the internet because John Byrne has a very, very dark and salty sense of humor. He's actually a pretty nice dude, though. And he gets a lot. I mean, you'll hear people going, that guy's kind of an asshole. Actually, he's not. I disagree. My interactions with him have always been extremely positive. And I was good friends with the moderator on his website, who I don't think he is now, but he was for years. His name is Mike O'Brien. If you want to know who Mike O'Brien is, if you've ever read Transmetropolitan, the editor is based on Mike O'Brien. But yeah, a lot of creatives don't like the fans. I've heard some big time artists say some pretty foul, or writer. I heard a big time writer say I won't say the guy's name, but it's a guy and he's from Europe and he called all comic fans mouth breathers. So that's and I had no time for that guy anymore. And it wasn't done in those mouth breathers. No, it was serious. And it was a conversation I was having with him. So yeah, it wasn't cool. I've always liked the customer and the fan. I know I'm an idiot. I must be a complete idiot. I would rather talk to my customers than a creative in the comic book industry, pretty much most of the time. Richard Wetfus, $5. Thanks, Gary. I'm having trouble with OBS on my Windows laptop. Richard, just plain Joe. I have done, I did it for Just Plain Joe, although he didn't get it. I did a little tutorial, an OBS tutorial and a live stream tutorial. I can send it to you. I can put it on my Google Drive and share it with you if you want it, if that'll help. If you got any specific questions, just email me, Gary@nerdrotic.com. I'm not a major expert on this, but I've been live streaming now for years on this. And I just use this because it's simple. It's simple. I'll probably try to complicate it later, but not now. Captain Spire, $5. Mars needs moms. Female protagonist that fights a female antagonist to overthrow a matriarchal power to bring back traditional family. I love it now. Captain Spire. I watched that movie with my kid. For one, it is dark. It is one of the darkest and really a disturbing film. Now, I worked a little bit on that at Technicolor. So it was a major bomb. I believe it was Paramount. Who was the God? I forgot who distributed it. They were freaking so mad at Zemeckis. It was just a total disaster. It lost so much money. But I remember watching the movie going, I kind of liked it. I did. I mean, it's awful, but it's really freaking dark. Like one kid got left there. And Mars, it was like taking moms and like killing them. And like, it was weird. It was weird. Yeah, definitely. I don't know, man. Shroom to that movie, you'll probably have an interesting time. But the uncanny valley in that one is crazy weird. Because it's done in that technology that Zemeckis was in love with, that he did with Beowulf, which I liked, by the way. I liked the movie Beowulf a lot. I thought it was cool. Rhino 4563 $10. Hey Gary, I loved Good Omens, binged it in one afternoon. Tennant and Sheen were brilliant. I mean, so brilliant. I thought most of the woke moments in Good Omens were satirical. I agree. Didn't take it too serious. Your thoughts? The little girl and the sexism. Yeah, that's actually I can't remember if that's from the book. I know it's in the radio drama. So I'm thinking that the BBC, I know they used a couple things from the radio drama, and I honestly can't remember if they're in the book or not. And those came from the radio drama. So I was expecting them. But Rhino 4563, thank you for the $10. I think if these things were in a vacuum by themselves, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think, and I'm bringing this up in the Orville video, I don't blame you if you are so goddamn fed up with all the effing wokeness that if he even gets dropped in for a second, you're turned right off and you walk away. That's what Hollywood is risking. And they're sitting here wondering, listen, there's bean counters who are very worried in Hollywood right now, extremely worried, because if movies die, it's effed and they're going to have to rely on television. Well, they're burning through money right now with this goddamn binge model. And you guys know what I feel about the binge model. It's unsustainable. Some people might like it, but you cannot continue to drop $140 million on a television show that gets forgotten in a week. We're losing very good television shows already. DC streaming is going to get absorbed into WB, and we're probably going to lose Doom Patrol, and we are going to lose Swamp Thing, two of the better shows on television. Good Omens, as much as you love it, I love it, nobody's talking about it anymore. It's done because it got dropped all at once. Stupid. It's a stupid model. You can always binge later. Dropping everything all at once, it gets forgotten. It gets completely forgotten. What's helping freaking HBO is like I'm gonna have to resubscribe for a little bit. I'm gonna jump in, watch Chernobyl, jump out, because I've gotten email after email after email after email. I mean, like, so many people have told me to watch it. So that and The Last Kingdom I'm gonna check out. But they can't continue. Like Altered Carbon, I don't know how many of you have seen it on Netflix. Had to be one of the most expensive shows ever made. And I loved it, but here's the other thing. Okay. So it gets forgotten in a week. It also makes it feel like it's been forever since it came out, because you drop it all at once and it doesn't feel like you spent any length of time with it. So if you went weekly with Altered Carbon, you would have had, it was 15 episodes. So you had almost 3 months of people talking about this amazing show. And then when it comes back, it doesn't feel like it's been gone as long because people had spent 3 months with it. Now, if you want to binge, you binge when the show is over. It's still there to binge. See? But these short-sighted, and believe me, they're listening to the wrong people. You drop a show weekly, more people are talking about it. And if you look at the list, that awful list on Parrot Analytics, The reason people are talking about Titans and Doom Patrol and Star Trek Discovery is because they're dropped weekly. That's the one thing CBS is the one service I wish would just drop it all at once, but that's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. Good Omens, though, good. Yeah, I can recommend it. If you're a Doctor Who fan, I mean, this will fill a need in your life that you didn't know you had, and then you'll walk away from it missing Doctor Who more than ever. Which, I mean, it was like a knot in my gut, like how much I missed that show. Yeah. Bird of Prey 5 for $5. My good friend, how are you? I shared his video. By the way, I will stick to that. If you did a hashtag VoxAdpocalypse video, please DM me or send me an email and I'll share it on my Twitter. Not that my Twitter's got the biggest following and not that I'm influential on Twitter, because I'm not, but I will happily share it because I think the more of you make a video on that subject, the better. So yeah, and I'm sticking with that. So please, if you have a VoxAdpocalypse video, shoot it to me and I will share it. Bird of Prey 5, save your ship, save yourselves, avoid the movie Booksmart at all costs. I will. I've never heard of it, but now I will avoid it. Young at Fart for $5. You should have an annual award show for media that finishes incredibly weak and call it the Thronies. That would be yes, we could. Game of Thrones has set the new standard in failure. So let's get to that article right now. Screen. Right, I've been talking long enough. Thrones Emmy. Just a mo, everybody. Just a mo. Jeremy did his video on Screen Rant article, so I'll look at a different one. Oh, I don't care what they say. Do we want to go digital as spy? Let's go to well, I don't want to call them a shill site. They're actually a good site. Okay. All they do is cover Game of Thrones. They're not really, they're going to be very positive on Game of Thrones, but I don't call fan sites necessarily shill sites because I mean, they're open about it. They're all like, hey, we're a fan site. We're a shill site. So yeah, I think there's a distinct difference there. So we'll go to Winter is Coming. This is a site I used to go to all the time. They used to have very good like spoiler news and stuff, but now this is associated with Fansided, which 1428 Elm is associated with. Okay. HBO submits Game of Thrones episodes actors for Emmy consideration. Well, the 2019 Emmy nominations will be announced on July 16th, and the ballots for each category have been released. We know now that cast members, crew members, and episodes HBO has submitted for consideration. Keep in mind, this isn't who actually is up for an Emmy. This is who HBO wants to be up for an Emmy. There are a lot of categories to cover. First of all, HBO is submitting the show as a whole in the categories of outstanding casting in a drama series, outstanding main title design. That's an award. Outstanding stunt coordination for drama series. How about outstanding stunt coordination done in the dark? Limited series or movie, and of course, outstanding drama series. The top award of the night. Then there will be awards broken down by episode and individuals. Let's go for it. The Bells, May 12th, 2019, long-awaited reunions occur as the ultimate battle for the Iron Throne commences. We all remember The Bells. Daenerys spurgs out. King's Landing gets burnt down. Remind you, this is 2 episodes after they fought the dead, the supernatural necromancer wizard, who is thousands of years old, who decided to take all of his army and fight one little kingdom in all of the 7 kingdoms and lose. Yeah, so this is the episode after that, and they forgot to mention him at all for the rest of the show. That episode is being put up for best writing. The Iron Throne, May 19th, 2019, in the wake of devastation, the leadership of Westeros and the whole Game of Thrones show forges a new path downward. I mean, forward. The Last of the Starks, which is really, that was the episode that turned the most people, which I was a bit surprised. I thought most of you would have turned on the long night, like myself and Doomcock and others. But no, it was The Last of the Starks. May 5th, 2019, in the aftermath of the fight that no one could see, survivors try to find a way forward and completely forget about the Night King and their fight and start fighting each other. I added that bit. The Long Night, April 28th, 2019. It was a long night for Game of Thrones, ladies and gentlemen. The characters engage in a heated conflict that nobody can see, with a stupid Deus Ex Machina resolution to show off, yes, a little girl power. Hey, you can't deny it anymore. They had nothing for Arya to do, and they decided this will have the most impact. This will have the most people talking. It came out of nowhere, because it literally came out of nowhere. How did she jump over the generals? How did she get by the general? We don't know, because it doesn't matter, because we couldn't see it, but it sucked. But honestly, we saw this coming. These are the same people who dispatched, these are the same people who made one of the greatest villains, Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, and then dispatched him like a little bitch. Yeah. Actually, the Game of Thrones Bud Light commercial was better than all of season 8. I would give that an award. So that is for, what is that? Was that for writing? I mean, are they not being specific here? And this is for, okay, so I know, what are these submitted for, guys? It doesn't say. Oh, Jonathan Freeman, art director, director of photography. Here we go. I'm dumb. The Iron Throne, directed by, okay, best director. The Iron Throne, directed by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. It is my belief that was their resume. They're all, hey, Star Wars people, hold my beer. Watch this. I'm going to direct a silent episode of Game of Thrones. You guys remember when Marvel Comics did the silent issues? They did a whole month of silent issues where there was no talking. And the most controversial one was Elektra, because you could see her woman parts in one of the issues. Yeah. The silent issues. I actually thought they were pretty good. I thought they were pretty well done. Well, they did that with the finale of Game of Thrones. I think our good friend MauLer pointed that out, that a good half of the episode, most of the episode, was silent. The Last of the Starks, directed by David Nutter. David Nutter, the guy who talks kind of funny. He's Sansa Stark. The Long Night, directed by Miguel Sapochnik, who up until that moment, I was touting that guy as one of the best directors in the planet because of his direction of Battle of the Bastards, Hardhome. And I think he still is. I don't think it was entirely his fault. But the cinematographer said it's all our fault, by the way. You need to buy a more expensive TV after you pay for our streaming service to watch our show. Don't you know that, you little plebe? Honestly, we would have put forward The Bells as the best directed episode of the season. Really. Game of Thrones, The Last Watch, May 26th, a funny and heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. The Long Night, department head, hairstylist. Okay, there was good hair. The Long Night. Okay, this one I'll give it. Ramin Djawadi, one of the best composers on TV this side of Murray Gold, who needs to be brought back. Well, Murray Gold was the composer for Doctor Who. All of his soundtracks, even for the subpar series, are fantastic. I own them all. Directed by Jeannie Fumo. The Last Watch. This is writing. The Long Night, The Bells, and The Iron Throne. Actor Kit Harington, Emilia Clarke. I want Emilia to win because she's cool. Is that, will that make you unsub? I mean, I don't blame you, but I honestly want Emilia Clarke to win because she's cool. She thanked the Free Folk, a site that she had to know was highly critical of Game of Thrones season 8, and she still classed it up and thanked the Free Folk for, frankly, bringing, I mean, like 75,000 freaking pounds to that. That's a lot of cheddar. So I hope Emilia Clarke wins. Kit Harington, it wasn't his fault, man. It wasn't his fault. I'll just say that. Alfie Allen is Theon Greyjoy. Pilu Asbeck for Euron Greyjoy. Are you kidding me? His performance was terrible. He was awful. The writing for Euron Greyjoy, possibly one of the greatest villains in literature, was yeah. No. Peter Dinklage, yeah. For his body of work, yes. Not for this season. It's a farce. Those two were not the best, but they were those who survived the horror. Come on, bro. Emilia may be cute, but she can't act her way out of a shoebox. Yeah, no. I'm not saying she's a great actor, but this is freaking Emmys. When have they passed out the award to the best actor? No, she was terrible in Terminator Genesis. Yeah, I just like her because she's nice. Is that so bad? Is it really so bad? Okay, TKE 198 $5. From one San Francisco kid to another, thanks for saying what needs to be said. Rewriting season 8 as a comic book. Spoilers, Night King is the final boss. Brilliant. I think if you guys have the time and the resources and it doesn't interfere with anything like truly important in your life, certainly rewrite Game of Thrones season 8. I'd love to see it. My hope is someday there will be an audio drama with that is a per adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire. You can get some of the, you won't get the big actors, but you could certainly get some of the B and C list actors from the TV show to do the voices. I think that'd be great. Tito George, $2. Agreed. About 90% of TV programs today are crap. They are. Not arguing at all. Paola RL 499 pounds. If Game of Thrones wins an Emmy as outstanding writing for episode 6, it will be the final insult to us fans. I'm gonna be more enraged than Doomcock. You might need to get a helmet, Paola. The only reason Doomcock can get that enraged is because he has his helmet. I hope they don't win. I don't want you to be enraged because I'll probably be enraged too. Nicholas Horton, 2 pounds. Series 11 never had any major threat. No, it had nothing. The whole point of season 11 was to shove the female doctor in the face of the toxic male fandom that they obviously wanted to alienate. They also came out so one-sided with their agenda. It's almost like they wanted to purge their audience and just have the audience that they want. Well, they're going to get that. And too bad the audience they want isn't going to be able to support the show. And please save the ratings were great. It was the most successful show. No, everything series 11 was based on was comparing it to the Capaldi era. Okay. You were comparing it to the decline. So it didn't decline anymore. It stopped declining because people watch for the wow factor. But by the end of the season, it was pretty much right down there with Capaldi as far as UK ratings. It were still a little better, but it was also in a better time of year. If you go back and look at the Capaldi era, look when they released the show at some of the worst times. It's almost like they were trying to hide it and bury it. It was almost like they were embarrassed by it. And some of the insiders have told me Capaldi had every intention of staying for 5 years. Did you guys know that? I remember hearing him say in an interview, I heard it with my own ears. I'm going to paraphrase here. They're going to have to rip this role out of my hands. But then all of a sudden, it was 2 years in. He's like, oh, I'm tired. This is very taxing. And it might be taxing working with the BBC. So I think he was done wrong, in my opinion. but I've heard a lot of corroboration of that. I used to hope for a Blade reboot. Not anymore, says Tito George. No, I don't want anything rebooted right now until we cycle through this lameness that's going on in Hollywood right now. Thank you, Tito George. Captain Mary Sue SJW, $1.99. Can you do a show on Missing 411 with Doomcock? We have. We've done a couple. I will find you those links. We need to find a place. Tell you what. In the next couple days, nerdrotic.com, I'll make a section where you can find all the exozones. But we've done it. But we'll do it again. We'll update it. Missing 411 is ooh, it's pretty creepy stuff. Pretty creepy stuff. David Polides. Sexual harassment panda for £5. The next doctor will be a woman. There is no way the BBC will want or be allowed by the fringe wackaloons to admit a woman failed at a man's job. The next doctor will be a black man. That's 50-50 on whether he's gay or not. In the show, it shouldn't matter because they'll probably just say the doctor's omnisexual or something, and they'll write that in the canon. Whatever. I think they will change it back to a male. And listen, if it's a black man, great, no problem. As long as they have a good writer. They have to get rid of Chibnall. That's the first person they need to get rid of. But I think that's happening. I think that's happening after the next series. It was stated the BBC wants Doctor Who coming out yearly. Chris Chibnall says he can't do it. He literally can't do it. So they said, okay, this time, but Doctor Who is not going to have the audience drop off if it did, then take an extra year off. They're not going to, you're going to naturally lose audience anyway. I can't remember. The percentage is like 10 to 15%. If you look at Westworld had, pretty decent ratings. When it came back, it did pretty well, but it was off because it took too long. But it had a ton of good word of mouth. Doctor Who doesn't have good word of mouth. All right. You're going to have the same. The thing is, with the Doctor Who audience, it was on television here in America, it's largely driven by the normies. They have driven pretty much all of the normies away. They're gone. So you have your hardcore Doctor Who fan who will just buy anything that has the logo, that has those words. They'll just buy it no matter what. And then there's another form of hardcore fan like me who, I won't buy anything that sucks. I don't care about a completion. I don't care about having a hole in my collection. If it sucks, I'm not going to waste my money on it. And if it insults me, I'm really not going to waste my money on it. And if I feel like it's a show that used to be for everybody, that is now one of the more divisive shows on television. But it's just following a trend. It's not even being nuanced as it thinks it is. Nicholas Horton, £5. Character options announced that some Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, and the War Doctor sets are being released over the summer. Yes. What is not being released? What it was supposed to be released is a companion 3-pack from Series 11, which was Graham. Oh my God, I'm blanking on their name now. Graham, Ryan, and why am I blanking on her name? Oh, because she was completely forgettable. But they have not announced that. The rumors are that got canceled. I'm not sure though. That was just a rumor that somebody popped in my chat. Character options. Yeah. So I'll see the War Doctor. I'll get the War Doctor set. Is it 5? Are they 5-inch ones or they? I think they got rid of the 3/4-inch ones. Thank God, those sucked. I'll have to wait and see at Comic-Con. Doctor Who merch has even been tanking in Cardiff, says Tharies. Tharies, wasn't it you who said, and correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you for the £2. Didn't they have a Doctor Who they had a thing like a Doctor Who experience that they closed there. I could be wrong on that one. I have never been to Cardiff. I've been to Cardiff in the States. There's a Cardiff in California by San Diego. Thank you for the £2, my friend. All Out of Bubblegum, $2. The patch was from me. Thank you, All Out of Bubblegum. Sorry about that. So this patch was from All Out of Bubblegum. I appreciate it. Sorry I lost the little tag for it, but thank you so much, All Out of Bubblegum. I'm going to put that on my red cap jacket. Mr. Roboto, $2. Gary, are you saying the space racist not award? He was not awarded. He was not award winning. No, the space racist from Rosa was not award winning. Doctor Who films. Peter Cushing as Best Doctor says care for a jelly baby for $2. No, I liked those films for what they are. I did. Care for a jelly baby. Thank you for the £2. I jumped on the chat. Yeah, so it's tanking in Cardiff. Yeah, I'm trying to get some real information authorities to make a video. I don't want to have nothing to back it up. I know what I see. So one of the biggest retailers that carry Doctor Who stuff is closing down here in America. Barnes and Noble. It was bought out by a hedge fund and it's being shut down. And they sold tons of Doctor Who stuff. They were the last ones in the States to retail Doctor Who DVDs. Done. Oh, and by the way, if you went to any Barnes and Noble, they would have a Doctor Who section with for the DVDs for the older TV shows, and they would have a little placard, and it did not have Jodie on it anywhere. No, they still had Capaldi and Matt Smith. Pretty interesting. And it's been a while now. It's been a couple of years. They've had plenty of time to change it. I wonder why they haven't. Derek Harmon, $5 on great content, but you're more importantly, killer beard. What's your secret? Well, I grow it. It grows and I don't shave. What's my secret? Beard oil, maybe? I don't know. Being old, I couldn't grow a beard like this when I was 30. So I'm old now, though. So that probably got something to do with it. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. Blue-eyed Scorpio. I know what it says. It's Blue-eyed Scorpio. Got it. For $9.99, it's because SJW Bull is always trending. Hollywood has no concept of humans. Add their power and their power hungry. Controlled narrative. Can't be wrong. I'm in my 28th month sober guy from the other night. Thanks for your support. Thank you and congratulations. That is, man, you're almost at 3 years there. So yeah, one day at a time. Keep it up. You are over the hump, man. It gets better too. It just gets better as long as you keep going to meetings, call your sponsor, talk to your sponsor, work those steps. You know how to do it. Richard Wetfus, $2. Thanks. That would be a great help. I'll email you. Please email me, Richard. Please do. Thank you for the $2. Leslie Russell for $1.99. Rock on, Gary. Hey, Leslie, you rock on. Okay. I can't rock on if you're not rocking on. I can't wait for Comic-Con. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it this year. There's a possibility I'll be hanging out with Jeremy. We'll see if he makes it. I'm sure he will, if his Z car makes it. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. Let's get to the chat. What did William Shatner as the Master, Dinklage as the Doctor, and Brie Larson as his damsel in distress companion who is clueless? Dr. Ho, I would I'll buy that for $1. I'd buy that for $1 for damn sure. Austin Woods, what's up? Ensign Ricky, what's up? Bear Nerdfern, what's up? OMG, WTF, Barbecue Kitten. New Disney X People reboot will have a black Professor X and Brie Larson as X-23. Yes, Idris Elba will play Professor X, and Brie Larson will be X-23 and Storm. Gary is half Bigfoot. That is why he has a great beard. Howard Bandy, Dad, is that you? No, I'm just kidding. The closure of the Doctor Who experience happened in 2017. Thank you, Lawrence C. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and that goes with my Jodie is not 100% responsible for the decline of Doctor Who. She just was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was declining anyway, but it could have been saved easily. If I'll say it again, if Richard Madden was the Doctor right now, and obviously you didn't have Chris Chibnall, just pick anybody who could have been. Toby Whitehouse. A lot of people were talking about him. Let's say Toby Whitehouse ran it. Do you think we'd be in the shape we're in now? No, absolutely not. It would be talked about all the time. There'd be a huge panel at Comic-Con, and hell, they might have a panel at Comic-Con this year, but you got to be reminded that Hall H at Comic-Con, you're a trapped audience. Most people stay there because if you leave, you can't get back in. The line is crazy. So they can pad things in Hall H and make it look like everybody wants to see that, and they're actually waiting for the Marvel event or whatever. Game of Thrones is going to be at Comic-Con this year, by the way. But Dan and Dave will not be going. I might go to that panel if I can get in. Yeah, I'm not big on waiting in lines. I'd rather see like an Orville panel or an Expanse panel. I hope there's an Expanse panel. Hang on. I'll get right back to that. Let's see if there is any Comic-Con news. We are what? About way. Oh, here we go. Oh my God, did you hear my stomach growl right there? That was loud. Listen, I know some people are down on con, and they should be. It's not as fun as it used to be. It's certainly not. But it's always dependent on who you go with. So if I'm going to be down there with any members of the Fandom Menace are going, like I said, I'm going alone. So we can, I don't even know where I'm going to stay yet. I'll probably stay at, like I said, my father-in-law's house. Let's see what Prism Awards, other panels, Spooky Kids, superheroes in real life, Avengers of oh God. Oh, I will go to every cringe panel I possibly can. By the way, last year there was a diversity in comics panel, and I tried to email your boy Zach and tell him to go to the diversity in comics panel because it would have just been funny to see him there. I wish I had my camera going. If I had my camera going, I probably would have a 1 million view video because one of the editors for Lion Forge basically said she passed up people based on their race. So she said, and when I get submissions and it's about feudalistic Japan, if that person, if the person writing it isn't Asian, it's a hard pass. So her saying that out loud as a boss, okay? So it's basically you're interviewing somebody for a job when you're taking a submission. All right. And the California state law doesn't see you submitting something and applying for a job. They don't see the difference when it comes to race. So when she said out loud, if you're white and you, I mean, she didn't say these words, but if you're white or black and you wrote about feudalistic Japan, she would pass on you based on your skin color. That's against the law here. You can actually sue the shit out of somebody for that if you could prove it. It'd be tough to prove. But she said that. She got a bunch of applause. And me and the person, I was sitting next to a total stranger, and we looked at each other, and like, thank God I sat next to the one sane person in there. And like, what the fuck? But no, they're all brave, stunning, beautiful. God damn, I wish I would have caught that on video. Friday, movie, television, best, worst, manga. So it looks like, oh, here we go. Queer Fear, queer horror panel. Klingon lifestyles. I might want to go to that one. Horror goth women in comics. So these are like the what I call these the PBS panels. I used to call the independent comics the PBS of comic books. It's kind of because it's held up as charity and they aren't really profitable. Yeah, we have PBS panels, which are going to be like the diversity in comics and panel. And there was a body positivity panel last year. These are the first panels to be announced. And they're usually like really early in the morning. Oh, what's this? Ripley's Believe It or Not expected to appear Bruce Campbell. I'll be at that one. Gaia. Gaia is like UFO, isn't it? It must be a different Gaia. So there's two different Gaias? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Isn't there a UFO channel that's Gaia? Sunday, there's nothing going announced yet. Television dark web. Oh, hey everybody, here we go. Celebrate 20 years of Farscape at San Diego Comic-Con anniversary panel. 2019 is a big year. It's San Diego Comic-Con's 50th anniversary. And it's also close to my 50th year too, because first Comic-Con was right before I was born. Our 10th and Farscape's 20th, of course, means it's the perfect time for Farscape fans to celebrate at San Diego Comic-Con with an anniversary. What they say by our 10th is for 10 years, there's been there is oh, it's the autograph. So never mind. Okay, I misunderstood that. Okay. So it's the whoever company is putting this on 10th anniversary. It's San Diego Comic-Con's 50th and it's Farscape's 20th anniversary. Author Mark O'Bannon revealed that there will be a 20th anniversary panel for Farscape at this year's convention with executive producer Brian Henson, creator Rockne O'Bannon, and actors Ben Browder and Gigi Edgley. And Rio Vista CEO James Ganier. There's no details yet exactly when the panel will be taking place, but we're willing to bet you can find out most here. So I will be at this panel, and for anybody who wants this show back, which if they bring it back with, of course, Brian Henson and Rockne O'Bannon in charge, I think it would be great. I think this would be your time. This would be your time to show your love for Farscape, a show that I've just recently gotten into that I freaking love. So that's good news. But other than that, there's not much else going on. Super fan. Outlander panel, fan panel. Oh God, no. Into the fan zone. Game of Thrones, Hall H. Game of Thrones rising to take over Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Game of Thrones as a TV series may be over, but Deadline reports that the rising from the grave for one last Hall H run at San Diego Comic-Con, barring an unforeseen new conquest of King's Landing. While TV series rarely make an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con after they've finished their run, I will hard stop right there. You know which one did? Trivia. What TV series came back for a victory run when it was over? I'm going to give you guys like a few minutes to answer that. There's no word yet on which cast members will be attending, though Deadline notes that Kit Harington is likely. Xena. Wrong. It was Battlestar Galactica. Firefly had the best panels. Well, technically, yes, because it was Serenity, but they were promoting the movie. But at Breaking Bad just did one last year. They did a 10-year anniversary last year. But right after the series was over, Battlestar Galactica did one more panel because if you guys remember, part of the reason Comic-Con is popular is because of the Firefly panels that Nathan Fillion used to own. Go watch the old videos of those. I have some of that. And Battlestar Galactica had some of the best panels. Yeah, there was, and you could still get in the con. You know, that was 10 years ago, back in the day. All right, there we go. So with the Shatner mess that's going on, again, I don't know completely. I know somebody wished he wasn't alive and wished Leonard Nimoy was. People are stupid. I see a bunch of people piling on that person, and that person's gone. So I think that's kind of over with now. So my next couple of videos are going to be, like I said, I'm doing a Game of Thrones and a Doctor Who. And I'm also, there's one I'm not gonna, I don't want to tip off what I'm doing. But it's going to be, it's inspired by my good friend MauLer, who I did try to send a message to. I don't know if he got back to me or not. He's probably busy. Oh, well, the tweet was just there and now it's gone. No, this isn't MauLer. Sorry. This is the William Shatner stuff. I'll just read it out loud. I have been alienated and passive aggressively bullied by this woman for months, to the point that I gave up my lifelong love of Star Trek and deactivated. No one believed me. Thank you, William Shatner, for calling her out. I reactivated just to state this. The person who wrote this tweet, you can block people. You know, you can mute and block people. If you let one person ruin your love for Star Trek, I mean, Star Trek Discovery, that at least took a group of people to ruin my love. Well, it hasn't ruined my love for Star Trek. It's ruined my hope for the future. But for Christ's sake, sack up. Don't let anybody on God. Yeah, don't. Yeah. No. Don't let this person, don't bring out the hyperbole on this. Ooh, that's cool. All right, let me get back to my messages here. There he is. He gave me a facial expression. Oh, it was 51 minutes ago. Crap. Here, I'm going to be on. Is he here? No, hang on. I start talking and I can't see the chat. But if I bring him in, I got to put my headphones on here. I'm going to just send him the damn link. How's that sound? I wouldn't ghost MauLer. Are you kidding me? Freaking love that dude. There. If he pops on, I'll notice. Where's another one too? Is it 3:18? Yeah, we got enough time to bring him on. Okay. Sorry, back to you guys. Back to you, Chit.
Hello.
Hi. Nicholas Horton. Oh, Nicholas, you didn't have to give me a £2 super chat, right? They're the 5-inch action figures. Well, I'll wait till somebody else buys them, and then I'll buy them from that, or I'll buy them from like a comic shop on eBay. That's usually how I buy my Doctor Who stuff. I do not give. I'm sorry, I'm not giving. It's not the distributor's fault, really, but I'd rather help out a small business, and they're getting their money through that anyway. I haven't rationalized in my mind that I'm not paying the BBC. I am still paying the BBC. I realize that, but those figures are so good, Nicholas. The 5-inch figures for Doctor Who are the best. V for $2. Love the channel, dude. Love you back. Love you back. Thank you for the $2. Jazzy Jeff for $1. Is this DJ Jazzy Jeff? Left behind by the French Prince. French Prince? Was he Blade Runner? French Prince. The Fresh Prince. God, fucking words just like Mr. Roboto, $2. New Doctor Who should be a cat. Then it's a cat video. Yes, and I would watch it more, and it would make more sense. Maybe they can have a cat fight the frog that was a universe that wanted to have a best friend. Yes,
that would be animal abuse.
There was a pocket universe as a frog that just wanted a friend, but they managed to make the story about a bad white dad. By the way, happy Father's Day early to everybody.
I can comment on the stream without him knowing.
Normies pushing SJW agenda won't buy merch, and they won't fork out for the physical media either. Companies don't realize this yet. Said disabled llama for Australian $5. You're absolutely right. Physical
Gary.
media will disappear. It will disappear here in the States first.
This is your conscience.
The one thing
You
I
know
know
what to do.
color making physical media. MauLer, hang on. Hang on. I can't hear you. Say something. Wait.
Hello there.
Hello there. Sorry.
Okay.
I shot you and I didn't hear back from you, and then you gave me a little facial expression. I'm like, what does that mean? Does it mean he wants to come on or not?
Oh yeah, I was in your chat. I was just chilling out with you.
Oh, right on. You know me. I just get going. I can't fucking stop. How are you, man? What have you been up to?
Exactly the same as I last spoke to you. I'm still working on my script. I'm up to 18,000 words for this one episode, but I'm really close now. I'm summarizing. I did all the plot analysis, summarizing all the major parts and explaining why all the characters have been ruined. I'm through Tyrion. I got Jon, Varys, and Jaime and Dany left, the 4 big hitters. The ones that were absolutely obliterated. I did it in order of the way I describe it is least fucked to most fucked. And
That's
I start
brilliant.
with Euron because
Oh my god, dude, your last EFAP was amazing, by the way, and really long. Like I remember I got up in the morning and I was working out, and then like I made a video, did a bunch of started making dinner, and I look up, I'm like, EFAP is still on. That's brilliant.
the last stream we did, YouTube, like, I don't know if you caught a bit of it, but YouTube like exploded for a couple of hours at one point.
Yep.
And I couldn't read any super chats, so I had to do 2 shows of super chats in one, and I was like, I will absolutely finish them on this stream, and it ended up being half the stream of just reading them and actually getting answers out. But yeah, no, the legal video, it was awful, and we had loads of fun covering it. He made a genuine defense of her in a court that he thinks he would be able to like argue that she was justified in what she did to the Dawn. Yep. He argues that what she did, what the Dawn did to her, comes under battery because he touched the piece of paper that is on her person, and she could argue that that was threatening, and so she's authorized to use self-defense to a degree. And he says, so her response is fair to a degree, and there's ways you could argue it. And it was absolutely insane. But he doesn't talk about the fact that she stole his motorbike and his clothes. Nothing about that.
Okay. I gotta watch that then.
You'll have fun. Me, Rags, and Wolf is the first 2 hours. I think we just rip into it. They get a little angry at certain points. I couldn't believe it because he's like an actual lawyer. Apparently, he writes law papers for like students.
Well, okay, yeah, those who can't teach. Dude, he's not a criminal law. I can tell you right now, as somebody who's been arrested, yeah, if you lay your hands on somebody for any reason, okay, example, a guy comes into my comic store and starts threatening me, all right? So I'm looking, he gave me a Daredevil #1. And I'm looking over it. And I usually put my gloves on and everything. And I'm looking at his comic. And I said, well, I'll give you so much for it. And then when I closed it, he's all, you put that crease in my comic. And I'm all, no, I didn't. That crease was there. And it was there. And then he started just like, and then I could smell the guy was drunk and everything. So he starts blowing up at me, right? My kid is upstairs in the loft. I freaking run around. I grab this dude and I throw him out of my freaking store. Cops come. He calls the cops on me. I almost get arrested right there and then for throwing a drunk guy out of my store who was threatening me. And it wasn't even the fact that he was threatening me. The only thing that got me out of it was my kid was upstairs and the cop coached me. The cop's all, did you feel your son was threatened? I'm all, huh? He's all, you felt your son was threatened? I'm all, yes. He's all, okay. And left me alone. Yeah, you will get arrested for touching somebody. So yeah, the legal eagle. Shut up.
Well, see, this is the thing. I believe I know that at least one other lawyer, I'm not going to say actual lawyer, but another lawyer has responded to him saying you're full of shit. Basically.
Good. I'm sure Ricada Law, subscribe to Ricada Law. He's better.
I've heard that he might be making a video. I don't know if he's done it yet, but I'd like to check that out as well. You never know what's going to happen with these sorts of, like media. He's like, oh, we need lawyers this time around. It's like, yeah, let's go for it. Bring in some lawyers. At one point, I was ironically going to be like, have we got any lawyers in the fan base? Does anyone want to come on? But we treat it as though we were the jury. We were just like, would we actually take this case? And when he argues that you could argue assault and battery from him touching a map, we were like, you'd be laughed out of court. This is insane.
Absolutely. I got to respond. Micah Meehan says, I work for Barnes & Noble. We are not being shut down. The same company bought Waterstone in Britain and revitalized the chain. They plan to do the same thing with Barnes & Noble. I was just going off an article that said you were being bought out and shut down. So yeah, I was just repeating what, God, I can't remember who said that now. But this comes on with Baker Taylor won't be distributing books anymore, which is including Barnes & Noble. I don't know if it helps it or not. Hopefully Barnes & Noble doesn't get shut down, but it had a tumultuous year, and physical media, as I was just saying, sells a lot differently here in America than it does in the UK. In the UK, people are still into their physical media. Here in America, not so much, unfortunately. I hope it survives. But that's what I heard. But if you work there, I don't know. I've worked at a lot of places that told me they weren't shutting down until they shut down. Okay, so EFAP, man. How's Wolf doing? How's Wolf?
I think he's all right, especially after that latest stream. I think he had a lot of fun, or at least I hope he did. And that there's the whole idea of like whether or not he conclusively wants to stop doing any kind of YouTube in a certain way. I think it'll be tough for him to really not do EFAP because it's such a, he needs to be free for not even, it could be 2 hours per week. That's all we need out of him. And he's welcome to always come on then. So I don't think it's going to be something he can feasibly leave unless he considers it almost distracting or unhelpful or whatever. But I think, I don't know. I guess we shall see going forward because obviously he did make it very public that he's feeling different about YouTube as a whole, and I suppose we'll just have to see how everything goes. He's going to be on the next EFAP, which should be this Sunday with you, my good sir.
Yes, that's exciting.
Me, you, Wolf, and a friend of mine called Alex as Rags will not be able to make it, unfortunately.
Oh, all right.
But it works out because the conversation is going to include Dark Phoenix, which Rags hasn't seen, Game of Thrones, which Rags hasn't watched, and apart from one episode, and The Expanse, which Rags doesn't even know what it is. So
there you go. And I get to talk to Wolf. So before I go on, I'm a big fan of Wolf. I was like floored when I found out he was. I guess I hadn't paid attention to he's very young. He's 22. I had no idea. He sounds not in a bad way, much older.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow. I think he brings a lot of good to YouTube personally. I think his stuff is highly entertaining, intelligent. I think the biting wit and satire is what the world needs, in my opinion. And I think he is one of the best at it. So that's just my feelings. I like him. I hope he sticks around, but I hope if you're listening, Wolf, whatever makes you happy, man. But you are truly loved by a lot of people out here. And I think the content is really good. Really good.
And he's really honest and speaks from the heart. So it's a nice dynamic. And everyone loves the chemistry that me, Rags, and Wolf have. So we wouldn't, because the idea that it's like, oh, we can get a replacement. It's like, not really. It's one of those, like those TV shows where they lose a character, they try and replace one. It'd be like, no, it wouldn't work that way.
Remember
similarly to how like I wouldn't be replaced or Rags wouldn't be replaced, I imagine would be
exactly. Yeah, he sounds 40, but in a mature, intelligent way. Yeah, Wolf is great. For the record, so is MauLer, by the way. So I'm stoked you came on, man. That's very happy. Dude, so have you seen Dark Phoenix? I don't want to ruin any future videos or anything, but
I'm not planning on a video. I don't feel too passionate about it, but I thought it was pretty bad. I was like, it's I enjoyed it, but when you start thinking about any of it, just instantly falls apart. I found it interesting that Red Letter Media, because you know about like how Me, Rags, and Wolf's whole thing is when we try and judge objectively, it's usually about consistency. It's just how it lines up with itself and with everything that came before it. It's an adaptation. How does it line up with the book? You can go, or the source material. Sorry, you can go all different directions. Red Letter Media, who I'm a very big fan of, Mike liked it. I don't know if you've watched Red Letter Media.
I haven't seen the review of Dark Phoenix yet.
So Mike liked it. Jay thought it was terrible. And it was really funny to watch Jay try and wrap his head around it, because he was like, Mike was like agreeing with all the criticisms and yet maintaining, he's like, I still liked it. And Jay was like, why? I feel similarly. The problem is that I had such a mixed bag of feelings. Like, for example, I kind of want to get everyone's take on this. You know the scene where Charles is being puppeted by...
Yeah.
Did you... What was your emotions during that scene?
I thought he was being humiliated. I was kind of angered during that scene.
Yeah, that's fair. The friend of mine that I watched it with thought it was kind of creepy, and he was like, "This is," and I think that was their goal in the filmmaking. They wanted you to go like, "Oh my god, like look what she's doing to him." My reaction was like, "Oh, this is teetering so close to just silly." Like I was like, "Oh, they do every step. Ooh, this is, like pulling your collar. Like, okay, come on, guys." And I suggested, I was like, all you have to do was lift him up, have him step towards her, and then she lifts him up so that, he flies towards her. Just take 2 steps. That's it. Don't do like every single step. I was like, oh god, when does it end? This is so awkward. And making him sort of look like a puppet as well. I was just like, man, Charles Xavier gets shat on in this film as a whole.
Oh yeah.
Which wasn't fun. What is with the ending? Why would he abandon the school? What's that about?
Because all right, so you might disagree with me on this, and I understand, but this was the woke elements that we're bringing, that were very subtly put into. There was the non-subtle, and there's not much of it, but it's the underlying thing of the anti. I'm going to call it the Times Up movement that is in Hollywood. It had an undertone of it the whole time, and the whole thing was to basically Xavier was the villain of the story. Although you never buy it, because he's this guy who's tried to help these kids. And yeah, he had to make a tough decision. That is what leadership is. So the scene where they had to show every single step is because they had to completely humiliate Charles Xavier and have him depowered by a woman. This is something that you could have shown, like you said. By the way, normal storytellers would have had him lifted up. For one, it would have been easier to do as far as effects wise, but there is a reason they did that throughout the whole movie. Now, again, it wasn't terrible, and at the end he apologizes, and once he apologizes, everything is cool. And the reason I bring this up, because if you just watch a movie here and there, you probably don't notice. I'm noticing it in pretty much everything I watch now. It really was evident in Star Trek Discovery recently. It's been evident in Twilight Zone episodes, and it's just it's a trend right now. So the ending for him quitting to basically they give it to Beast for some reason. I thought that was a surprise. But naming it the Jean Grey School at the end,
yeah, that's a little bit insulting.
That was just insulting to Professor X. Professor X represented patriarchy, and that went into some of the decision making. I'm not saying it's a good decision. I'm not saying everybody creative involved was behind that, but it was part of it.
This is the thing. I would just happily settle with bad writing, especially with how Mystique is like, when was the last time you sacrificed everything around you? And immediately in my head, I was like, you're talking to a man in a wheelchair. He lost his legs for you guys, so that's that kind of gets to you a little bit. It's like that's really cruel. And then you might go, well, that's an old example. That's First Class. Name a new one. It's like, okay, the previous film where he nearly died taking on Apocalypse. I don't know. I'm not going to say losing his hair was a sacrifice, but the process in which he battled Apocalypse, it's like not everybody's a huge, important, powerful Dark Phoenix person who can just obliterate something in seconds. Like, yeah, it was really disappointing to see not only Mystique say that, because that's just like, okay, that just seems mean-spirited and wrong, but also for him to just take it. It's like, wow, Charles, you're supposed to be the most intelligent character in this universe, and you couldn't come up with a counter? Like,
yeah.
Well played.
Yeah, something. And just Well, I mean, then there's also like the little details that they forgot, like they're supposed to be 30 years older.
Oof, yeah.
That, you know, because First Class was in the 60s during the Kennedy administration, and this was 1992, so Nirvana just hit the scene. I know for some of you youngsters that was a long time ago. For me, it was yesterday. And
all they had to do was like I say all they had to do. I don't think it's possible to do it like without distracting the audience, but you give Michael Fassbender gray hair for one. That's the easy way out, like, because he's not far away from X-Men 1 at this point in continuity. He's got to look like Ian McKellen soon. Like,
yeah,
gotta hurry that up. Oh, that's making me think of more stupid shit. Like, do you love that Magneto is like, okay, so Jean is pushing this helicopter away with ease. Pulling it and crushing it and stuff. I'm trying to push it away at maximum strength. I'm screaming my ass off, just trying to push back at her a little bit. And then he's like, I'm going to go kill her by throwing metal at her. The whole plan, I was like, how is this going to work? And I was like, oh, I guess he's really confident. He just goes in the room, tries it doesn't work, and he gets beaten straight away. And I was like, okay. That just seems like cause and effect is in position here. I don't understand why. Like, why are Magneto and Professor X so stupid?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Magneto and Professor X are not stupid. They're absolutely aware. Magneto is one of the most powerful mutants alive. So is Professor X. They're level 5 beyond. And yeah, you think that, you know, they could sneak up behind her, maybe use a little trick, but no, they just keep going guns blazing.
Beast was like trying to sprint at her to the building. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, no offense, Beast, but she can pick you up and throw you away. Like, not to mention, by the way, it's really tough to watch as just someone who pays attention to the entire continuity. But Professor X's purpose in the entire fight on the street was to hold that one woman in place. Like, has the film forgotten that his whole thing is freezing an entire public area? Like, that's what he can do. But no, he has to freeze this one person that pretty much just knocks him out of the fight. I was like, this is not, like, he's been doing this since, I believe, First Class is he does it.
Yeah, he did First Class. Is it First Class? He does it for. I'm thinking
he's definitely done it as McAvoy, or McAvoy. Sorry, he's definitely done it. I just can't remember if it was in First Class he first did it. But freezing a group of people, like a whole area—that's Professor X's whole like stunt. Every time he does it in an X-Men movie, we're all like, "Ooh!" Because there's always a cool special effects thing usually where everyone's frozen, or they just do it naturally, which again is cool. I really liked how they killed Mystique, and that might be my bias towards really not liking Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. I was just like, yes, she's out.
I was very happy about that. I was equally upset that they got rid of Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Peter, they got rid of Peter just like that. It's like, I've never seen that. It's like, was he not available? Could they not afford the effects? He's
such an easy way to make people like the film. Everyone loves his scenes. Just, what are you doing?
So I think, well, I'm finding out more and more every day, and I know the public has found out there's a lot of stuff out there, but apparently, I can't give too many hints that I may know of a person who worked on the film. So this person and I need to talk, and I don't know if I can pass on anything or not. Hopefully I can. But I was very shocked that this person reached out to me and said, "Hey, I worked on the film." I'm like, "Whoa, we need to talk then." But there's a lot that went behind this, and I've heard the rumors that it was originally supposed to be 2 films. It's been heavily reshot, delayed. Alita Battle Angel is part. They're trying to blame a little bit on. Listen, Alita just changed the release date. It didn't change the film. The film would have just sucked earlier. It still would have sucked. Releasing it in February wouldn't have made Dark Phoenix good all of a sudden. So anybody's blaming Alita or James Cameron. I enjoyed Alita more than I enjoyed Dark Phoenix. Neither of them were going to win Academy Awards. Jennifer Lawrence is America's Wino. Dr. Meatball, that's terrible.
I find her to be so repulsive as Mystique. I can feel in every line of dialogue she does not want to be there.
No, you could sense it. And I was sensing that before she came out publicly and said it. And the only reason she came into this movie was as a promise to Simon Kinberg, who apparently kept things together on the set. Apparently, Bryan Singer went for the last couple of movies was going AWOL, like would disappear for days. And Kinberg had to come in and direct the scenes. That finally came to a head on the Freddie Mercury movie, where that's when that news came out that he has been going AWOL. So it's on his last 3 movies, he's been going completely AWOL, like disappearing. And yeah, no, I like Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah,
that's my Mystique. She didn't have a lot of lines, but I liked her a lot. She looked better too. So
she's all around better, just all around. I don't know. It's a complete mess. The new continuity, the young versions, they never seem to know exactly how much time they have or what stories they can make, and so they're sort of just every film is a new like. I guess this character's doing this time. I don't know. Like how Moira McTaggart is just like ditched for a movie and comes back, and they're like, "Oh, her memory was erased." You're like, "Okay." Like it's just you get the immersion's totally broken. You're just like, "Oh, this is just the actress wasn't around. I guess we didn't want to pay her." They're just like, "Yeah, she's back now, though," and you're like, "Okay, why is she back?" Whatever.
I'm usually not impressed by cosplay, but I was looking for a picture of Mystique. That's good cosplay. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Wow. Is that Comic-Con? No, it's not Comic-Con. That looks like San Francisco. Just wanted to, usually I'm not a cosplay person. I was just looking for a picture of Mystique, and I'm like, God, half of them are she's naked, and is YouTube gonna get mad about that? And YouTube's been weird lately, ever since all the kerfuffle going on.
Oh yeah, everyone's very concerned, as they should be.
Yeah.
We don't know what our overlords are doing, or how much they're gonna screw something up at any moment.
Well, every time something like last night, people couldn't live stream for a little while. That's a fundamental change in the infrastructure of YouTube. There's usually something very bad that happens. Hell, this got demonetized before I even started. I'm not sure why, but it did. It did. Save some for EFAP. I don't think MauLer will ever have a shortage of things.
Yeah, and we'll have Wolf. And what I'll do is I'll try and go through the film chronologically, at least to a degree, when we're on EFAP. But yeah, don't worry, we'll have plenty to go. For example, like I am now in season 3, episode 4, I think, of The Expanse, and I'm afraid I have to report I don't like it that much. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I love it.
It'll be a good conversation though, because Wolf hates it. So we'll be able to bounce around all the perspectives. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about just some of the bigger issues I have with the show, to see what your take is on them. And I think he's going to really want to talk to you about the adaptation element, because he loves those books. And he's just been sending me messages about how inaccurate the show is and how it's breaking everything. And I was just like, oh gosh, keep it to yourself for now. It's okay. We got it on Sunday.
Well, I think the fundamental difference will be, I mean, I'll save it for EFAP, but those are two different things. The books and the shows are two different things. Now, we've always want our favorite thing from the book to be in the show, but they're two completely different worlds, universes. One does not exist in the other. As a big comic book fan, I've had to learn to deal with that forever. Like every comic book, I could be the guy who hates every comic book film ever made, because I think the source material is just superior. At some point, I got to go, well, if it captures the spirit of it, that's what I'm good with.
What would you say is the best adaptation of a comic book into a movie?
The best, if it's most faithful to comic book, Sin City.
Oh, cool! I like Sin City.
Sin City is a beautiful adaptation of its source material, and damn near panel for panel captures everything Frank Miller. It is brilliant. As far as superhero movies go, oh, that one's tough. I don't think I see Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite. Donner's Superman, of course.
Tell you what, I watched Spider-Man 2 recently-ish. That movie holds up. So good.
So yeah. Oh yeah. Even the train battle that's got that is so damn good.
And you have to appreciate, it's like, this is a man in a crazy suit with 4 mechanical arms, and yet it looks great. Like, I don't know how they did it.
Sam Raimi's a master. It's just poor guy got bullied by some producers and forced to make Spider-Man 3, unfortunately.
And it's funny because if you could go back in time, you could have told those producers, hey, make a Venom solo movie, let him make his Spider-Man 3 movie, then you can make a Spider-Man versus Venom movie, and then you'd have enough money at that point to buy more IPs. You could be the MCU. You could have been.
Yep. Avi Arad.
And imagine a crazy timeline where that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man grows up to start like bringing in new heroes. He's the Tony Stark instead.
Yep. Hey, Sony could. I think once they're done with Holland, they could bring back Toby. He's not old. You bring back Toby. You say you're sorry to Sam Raimi. I'd love to see Sam Raimi come back to superhero films. I love Sam Raimi. There's only one movie of his I don't like, and it's Spider-Man 3, and that's it.
Yeah, that was rough too. I rewatched that one as well. And I was like, oh, this one is.
It starts out good. And then it goes to hell. So, but yeah, that'll be interesting. My defense of The Expanse, and I'll be taking on 2 people. I got this, man. I am not worried.
Technically, it might be 3 people because a friend of mine hasn't read the books. He's seen the entire show, and he only watched it because everyone was recommending it, and he thought that season 1 was okay, and then it nosedives in season 2, and the rest of it he only watched out of obligation. So we'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure. It's relatively fresh on my mind, and it's not 3v1. It's just going to be a conversation. Because I had so many arguments with that same guy about Game of Thrones, because he was like, Game of Thrones sucks after season 1. And I was like, why? And he was like, oh, it's not faithful. And then I was like, it doesn't have to be faithful. It needs to be consistent with itself because it's an adaptation. There are some things it just cannot do. And the other argument is that it created scenes that are really good that aren't in the book. So that was always my position. And when the Tyrion thing in season 4 happened, I was like, I can give you the poor adaptation argument, but I can give you the argument that has nothing to do with the book that is still an argument for how it's bad. And it's the simple vision is just why would Tyrion go up the tower? It makes no sense. And a lot of people do have a moment of like, well, I guess he went up there because he kind of hates Tywin. It's like, why? Because Tywin, he was trying to kill him. It's like, was he? He failed the trial by combat that Tyrion was put in place. What's Tywin supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then they're just like, well, Tywin's always an asshole to him. And it's like, so why kill him now? if that's the reasoning. And, it just falls apart. While the book, it's slick. All of it follows. You're watching events unfold because nothing else can happen.
No, exactly. I was just thinking of Tywin. I'm running a campaign to get Charles Dance to play the Master and Peter Dinklage to play the Doctor. I think that'd be so great.
To run a campaign to just make everyone hire Charles Dance while they can.
Yes, while he's still around. He's an international treasure. He is. No, The Expanse is good. Sorry, I'm.
You see his comments on Game of Thrones season 8.
No, what did he say?
I retweeted it. It was like an interview where they say like, what did you think of the finale? Did you enjoy it? He goes, well, it was a bit confusing. John goes back to the north, I suppose, and Arya's going off on some adventure. And Bran is on the throne, and he's like, he doesn't understand how any of it works. And then they just go, well, we're out of time. Time to go to the next blah blah blah. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't Richard Madden come out? I just saw the headline. He said, I'm glad I died early. Good for him. It's probably better for his career.
I love how there's like a quote or a video or a screenshot or an image of every single actor having their moment in relation to this season. And the only ones that I know are positive about it are Sophie Turner and, to a degree, Kit Harington, and that's it. The rest of them have either, like I said, a quote or a video where you can clearly tell they're unhappy, which is like, has this even happened with a show before? This many actors are disappointed with where the show went?
Not that I remember, no. I didn't pay attention to Lost actors, but everybody else seemed to back their show. Sophie is the only one out there trying to defend her show, and she's I actually have made a video, and I don't know if I'm going to put it out because I feel like it's kind of hard on Sophie. But she's had a bad couple of weeks, and I just point out that she's had a bad couple of weeks, and she said some stupid things, and life comes at you fast.
She's only young, I can understand, and it's hard to tell what the criticism is when there's that many voices, I suppose, when you're on that end of it, because she's going to be seeing a lot of stuff, and she's probably just like, you know what, everyone should be nice. Like, that's the easy sort of response to make. And you can feel bad for a little bit, but I just be like, just if you want to respond to them, listen specifically to what everyone's trying to say, trying to just find out. Otherwise, ignore it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's just opinions. It's just things. You can always turn that's been going on with YouTube here. You can always not watch us or not listen. I just read a tweet where somebody felt so bullied on Twitter that they didn't block this person or mute this person. They just let the person go, and then they used it as an excuse to where it killed my love for Star Trek. Well, all you had to do was mute it. I mean, like, you're being a little dramatic here, and that's God damn it, just stop it. That's part of what we're fighting. I see a lot of we'll save the Expanse stuff for Sunday. I can tell you why I like it very simply, because I like it. I like sci-fi. It's written by Rand Shankar from Star Trek Next Generation and Farscape. And the writers of the book are showrunners as well. I'm not a fan of all the books, by the way. I like most of them, but I think 2 of them are pretty bad, and they go way off the rails. I like the characters. I'm a big Amos Burton fan. I like the changes from the book and the show. I just think it's quality, and they try to make it as grounded and science-based as they can. It's not going to be perfect because it's freaking TV, but I think they explain a lot of stuff better than most shows. 95% of the shows on television. I think most of the stuff is explained pretty well, told in a way that I like. But if some people don't like it, that's fine. But it's.
I really wish I liked it, because I feel like it'd be easy to get into. But I'll finish it out with whatever's currently out. But it's more for just completing. Like, I'm going to try and make sure I see as much as I can before Sunday, so I have a lot of things to talk about. But yeah, like I said, I wish I'd liked it more. I'm going to give Good Omens a chance after that, because that seems interesting. It's only the 1 season, and I'm planning on watching Chernobyl with Wolf, because I keep hearing about how amazing it is. I've only seen 1 episode, and it was pretty damn good. So
I'm with you on there. But yeah, you know what? I'll try to finish it before Sunday. Not that we're going to talk about it, but even if it gets brought up, the same thing. I've been getting email after email, like, you got to watch this. It's like, okay, done. Fine. I'll pick up my HBO subscription again, which I canceled publicly just to watch it. And then I'm going to cancel it again. Silhouette and Animator, just some terrible news, folks. Not comic related, but fire just destroyed the masters for Nirvana and Guns N' Roses songs.
Damn.
It's terrible. Like, why were those 2 things in the same place?
And why were they flammable?
Yeah.
Be...
I walked by the vault with the Disney Masters. As a matter of fact, I walked into that vault with the Disney Masters, and it would be next to impossible. The sun would have to explode for those things to burn. They have them so protected now. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happens. There's enough copies out there. Would be fine, but that sucks. If you're a fan of either of those things, I think Proper Jeremy will be very sad. I'm going to get a couple super chats here, man. Where was I? Where did it go? Disabled llama. Okay, Jeanette Luna Johnson, $5. Love the Expanse. It was just what I needed after Game of Thrones disaster. Thank you for suggesting. Do you have any other suggestions? As far as what shows that are out now, and you like that kind of stuff, I would watch. It's kind of weird. I like Legion. I'm a big fan of that show, Legion. It premieres June 24th, but it's weird. It's definitely a bizarre show. It's more Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was amazing. Swamp Thing is great. It's good horror. It's old-fashioned horror. I loved it. And of course, it got canceled.
High Plays Drifter said, does MauLer like anything? I'm very picky. Very, 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 very picky. I was going to say, I like a lot of stuff. I don't think a lot of stuff is good. And you might be like, what does that mean? I'd be like, well, that's the distinction we always draw on EFAP, the conversations. Like, do you like it? Do you dislike it? And second conversation is, do you think it's well made or not well made? For example, Farscape, I really like. I'm not sure where I would put it in terms of well made, because it's got, it's basically an all cast of Australian actors, because it was obviously made there. So it doesn't look like they had the cream of the crop for actors, and you get a lot of sort of portrayals that are just like, oh, this is the person they found just around the corner. That's fine though. And then it's like a lot of production designs that fail, a couple of continuity issues and everything. But there's so much spirit in the show, which is what draws me to it, as well as like you can tell there's a lot of passion and a lot of creativity. That's where I would put it. Then you have like Breaking Bad, which I love and is simultaneously something that is crafted to such a crazy high degree, with every element pretty much coming forward. With obviously the peak element being that he threw that pizza for real and first time nailed it onto the roof. That's quite possibly the best production story you could ever have for anything ever. I'm assuming you've seen that show because that's like a must watch. Yeah. And yeah, so how many things do I think are good? It's like not huge compared to the amount of things that there are. But that's not a bad thing because it's kind of like, I guess that's how it should be. You know, like how many great writers are there? There shouldn't really be that many compared to how many writers there are. In the same vein that same for actors, same for basically any profession, because the best of the best are obviously going to create this like locked out class, and I just I get very, 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 and this is the thing, it's like, could you make a really amazing show then? It's like, not really, no, but I still like to be very, very consistent with how I judge something. So if I'm going to be like, Breaking Bad is great, and then I watch something like Farscape and I say Farscape is okay, well, I can't say great because, you know, Breaking Bad blows out all of the production elements of Farscape in a different way, and writing even. It's hard to try and draw a scale, is what I'm saying. So I like to try and be careful. So when I say something isn't very good, like if I said The Expanse wasn't very good, doesn't mean I would be surprised if it wasn't beloved, because I think it's the perfect vehicle to get lots of people invested. And I think if it was like a different time in some way, shape, or form, I might have actually loved the show. I don't know. There's things that are pushing me out of it, and I'll look forward to talking about them with you, because what's pushing Wolf out is clearly the fact that he loves the books. Like that's this, you know, I wonder how he would have felt about it if he had never read the books. And the irony is that it didn't do that to you at all. So, you know,
that's the thing of youth. That is actually probably a youth thing. That's because I was probably a lot like him in my 20s. I was really super judgmental, and things had to be pure. And you know, I got older and just like fuck it.
Well, the interesting thing, because I talked to you about Hill House, right?
No.
Vaguely. Oh well, so it's a terrible adaptation, terrible, and yet it's one of what I would say the best shows right now. And Wolf would agree with that. And so I like try and turn this on Wolf a lot. I'm like, what if we had a guy who loves the Hill House book tell you that this show is awful?
Hill House. I'm sorry. I thought you said something else. Sorry. Hill House. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. If I said to Wolf, like, if this guy said he read the Hill House book, loved it, watched the show, and it's terrible, none of it makes sense, the characters are all wrong, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what would you say to that guy? And he was like, well, you know, you might be right. Maybe as an adaptation, it's terrible. So we'll just have to, you know, try and push him towards, those are two different conversations. That's what I usually try and say.
No, I liked Hill House. I thought it was good.
Oh, I loved it, but I've just, if you check reviews, all of the low reviews are people who read the book, and I'm like, oh, it's probably safe to assume it's a bad adaptation, and that Michael Dougherty probably wanted to make something that he wanted to make, and he just took a source that could facilitate it in essentially name only, and even took some of the character names, but he didn't do anything with them that are remotely the same as the character. So I was like, oh, this would piss people off, wouldn't it? Because imagine being like, oh yes, my book is getting an adaptation. Then you watch it like, what is this? Like, this isn't even remotely the same.
That's how I feel every time I see Star Trek Discovery. It's name only and stuff, and that's how you got to separate some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
That's what me and Alex, the friend of mine who will be good for, is I'll be arguing to you from the show alone, because I wouldn't even have read the books, while Wolf will be wanting to talk to you about what you think of it as an adaptation. What is your take as an adaptation? Do you think it's relatively faithful?
It's relatively faithful in the first two books, because it combines book one and book two into season one. And I really love the format they use, is they basically take a season and a half to tell the whole book. So that's why it feels like in the middle of season two feels like a finale, because it is. That's the end of the first book. Now they took a bunch of book two stuff to introduce Christian Avasarala, because she's not in the first book, and they put it in the second book. Season three is the only time I'll even get close to criticizing the show, is because they were forced to finish because they were going to get canceled. So they had to just rush out a lot of stuff, which was almost too information. And listen, I got a ton of criticism, because I just said in my review, I'm like, it was kind of rushed. It was kind of rushed. People were killing me. And I'm like, so yeah, watch out. Watch out. Expanse fans are passionate people.
Oh, well, we already had it recently with Godzilla. We got lots of trouble with my fans about Godzilla when I criticized. I was like, but that's how it works, right? We got to stay honest. The last thing our fans want us to do is say, what am I supposed to think, fans? Tell me.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They're not here for that. So it's all good. And it makes more conversation. So it's actually kind of refreshing to disagree every once in a while with the fan base, right?
It is. And you find out that they mostly stick around because they're not here for echo chambers and stuff. Yeah, there's plenty of channels out there that'll ride the fence and tell you what you think you want to hear.
We actually covered the video of a Collider having a breakdown because of not being able to be themselves. I find that beyond hilarious. Like when he's like, I'm not going to cover it. He's like, you will cover it. It's like, oh, if only you owned your own channel and you had your own soul,
Yep. I might isolate that video. I was going to do a video on it. So many people did. I got to stop doing that. I should just do my own video. It doesn't matter if people did it or not. But
everyone likes to see everyone's takes, everyone's is different. Like we never do stuff like that on EFAP, but I was like, oh, this is too good. I got to show Wolf and Rags this and give them the context and watch them laugh.
Dude, Red Letter Media clowned him, which was funny. And twice. Well, because so they did a Dark Phoenix Godzilla review, right?
Yeah.
And I only got through the Godzilla part and I had to bail before they did the Dark Phoenix. So I saw the beginning where they were talking about the VCR museum, and that was pretty damn funny. I liked it. I got really mad at those guys. I'll be honest with you. When they melted the action figures, I unsubbed and I was pissed. I was one of those fans. I'm like, oh my God, unsub, fucking melted action. Hundreds of Star Wars action figures made me angry as hell.
Oh, do you mean like because it's a waste?
Yeah, they did it for a bit, and I understand that. And because I'm still sometimes a scornful, rageful nerd, you burn that many. I was mad at the time. So.
Well, I took it as them saying this is how much Disney have killed Star Wars for us.
I did too. There's a different way. I would have gotten Disney Star Wars figures to do it, but I know the point was.
I'm guessing they didn't have any because why would anyone buy Disney Star Wars figures?
No, the impact was this is what they did to your beloved Star Wars. It was to show it, and it got me the right response. Refresh. Are we? Am I frozen? Hang on. People are telling you to refresh. Just refresh. That's been kind of going on right now.
I have to say, watching them come out as a big gray block, it did feel very poetic. Like they had taken the colors and individuality of all of Star Wars and turned it into this grimy gray, just brick. And just goes into the wall of all of Hollywood.
I love that. That's a great analogy. That's what it is, man. Like I've said, after I saw The Last Jedi, I walked out of there with a fucking headache. I said my piece and I'm like, I'm done. I don't even care. I don't even care enough to get mad. I'm going to cover it, but you notice around these parts, I don't do Star Wars videos because I just don't. It's so dead. It's beyond dead. And I love that the Phantom Menace hangs in there and I love fans hang in there, but dude, look at Galaxy's Edge. Look at what MauLer just said was probably the best description I've heard. It's a great, what'd you say? A gray block of muck.
Like a slimy gray brick. Yeah.
Yeah. That is just a thing now. It's product. It's a widget. And it's sad. It's fucking sad.
Is, yeah.
I stormed out. Somebody, what is it? Sinister says I stormed out of TLJ. I wish I could have. I had the worst headache in the world.
I had the whole I don't know what I just saw. It was my reaction. I was confused. I've told this story a couple of times. I spoke to two friends, and one of them was very positive, and the other one was I didn't like it that much. And I was like, I need to talk about it because I'm having feelings. I need to figure out what they are. And then,
yeah, man. I had nobody to talk about it. This was before the channel grew, and it was just me and my co-host and my wife. My wife didn't want to hear about how much I hated it. She's like, whatever. And she's a Star Trek fan anyway. She likes Star Wars, but she's like Star Trek. Her only response to anything Star Wars is Star Trek is better.
For me, by the way, it was similar when the Night King exploded. because I watched it with two friends, and I was staring at the screen for a while, like, because initially my head was like, yay, we beat him, and it was Aya, that's cool, and I was like, yeah, is it though? It's like, wait, we need to reevaluate the entire show a second, because I was the first thing, because I didn't record it, but the first thing, so I was watching it with Wolf and a friend of mine called Fortier. When you show the Dothraki at the front, like the first thing I said when we were watching the episode was like, why are the cavalry at the front? That's odd, and the trebuchets are behind them. What? But it's the kind of thing where I was like, okay, whatever, we'll move on. It's the episode. We're going. Yeah, I can. Whatever. But then that's when you do the whole rewatch thing, and you're like, God, this was really bad. And yeah, similar situation where I was almost in the position of like, this is okay. This was okay, but then your brain catches up with your heart. Let's put it that way.
Your heart, and that's how I run. So I'm not. People know this. I'm not super analytical. Okay, analytical. I go by my gut, and I knew it was going to happen. Doomcock and I were talking, and he passively said, he's all, yeah, they did the most effects work on episode 3. They spent the most time on episode 3. I'm all, why would they spend the most time on episode 3? Oh, fuck, they're going to kill the Night King in episode 3. Yeah. What the fuck? And I was prepared. I did a pre-show, but you're right. We even talked about that. I had the same exact feeling, minus the headache, that I did when I walked out of Jedi, or Last Jedi. It just felt, and I didn't even realize I still cared about Game of Thrones that much. It was so fucking. I'm looking for my first reaction while I'm talking here with Doomcock. I'm scrolling through our messages. It was pretty funny.
With when just before we'd started as well, Wolf was like, so what are your predictions? What do you think's gonna happen? And I was like, well, the one that I wanted was it was subverted and he went south, the Night King, and obliterates King's Landing with Cersei escaping. I was like, that's what I want to happen. That's what I think makes a lot of sense with how limited we are right now, but I'm up for anything. And I said, we could get the whole fight and he dies at the end of it. We could get the whole fight and, a lot of main characters die, but I doubt they'd kill all of them, but they escape, and they need Cersei's help to defeat him. That could be something. I was going through all these ideas, and then at one point I cut myself off. I was like, "Oh, well, actually, sorry, I suggested that he die in one of them." And I was like, "I don't think that would be any good." And like Wolf was just quiet because he'd seen it already. I was like, "I don't think it works with him dying. I don't think we can do that."
No, God, hang on. This is our reaction. This is mine and Doomcock's. I've showed this before. I just want to make sure I don't show too much. This is our Twitter. This is right after the episode. We're talking like 2 minutes after the episode, maybe. Screenshot. That's what I want. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, but there we go. Yeah. That's me right after watching episode The Long Night. The award winning, the up for awards. It is now. I don't know if you heard that or not, but we have a stupid award called the Emmy Awards. It's a TV award here. It's like the Academy Awards of TV. And Game of Thrones has been naturally submitted for some.
I heard about that. Did you see, there's a meme that I found that I was just sending it to people. They've got, because you know how good Chernobyl's being received. There's just a picture of Tywin saying, nonsense, Chernobyl will get the best writing Emmy, and that will be the end of it. There's no way Game of Thrones is getting it.
No. And Chernobyl,
if it does, oh my goodness. Like,
it might.
What an insult that'll be. And this is the thing, it's oftentimes the awards aren't of quality, but ceremonial. Like, congratulations, you are this thing. And I feel like there's a chance that they're like, well, it's Game of Thrones, it's finished, it's finale. I think we should give it an award. That logic. But oh my, and to submit the finale, like, could you not go with
for best directing and writing? For best directing and writing. And all I think about is your video, your supercut.
The walking was spectacularly framed. Okay,
it was, and it wasn't too dark. It's still dark. All Game of Thrones looks dark on a computer all the time. If you watch it on a computer, the way it's shot, it's just always have been like that since season 2. But yeah, Peter Davison, Australian $2 says Tintin was a good adaptation. I'm going to agree with you. Peter. I thought it was an okay movie. My kid loved it, like crazy loved it. Like wanted to buy everything involved in that. Like it's sometimes kids, something will connect with the right kid. Obviously, not enough of them. I don't know if you saw the Tintin movie, Spielberg, Peter Jackson.
I've not seen it, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it was directed by Spielberg, right? It was directed by Spielberg, produced by Peter Jackson, written by Stephen Moffat from Doctor Who. It had like this super team. Edgar freaking Wright wrote it. It's like, look at the freaking IMDb for Tintin. It's yeah. HBO or trolling D&D hard, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Tintin, I did like it, Peter Davison, but my kid fell in love with it. Mazzy Monty for £5. MauLer, I watched your show that I watched you show that crappy lawyer. I've never laughed so hard in a long time. I thought you were going to burst when he said mansplainers. Alex.
Oh yeah. And we pointed out like how he says at one point that it's just like men are angry at the scene, and I was just like, I guess the women who have complained about it just don't exist. Unfortunately for that Star Wars girl, for example, she doesn't exist.
Maza doesn't exist either. He's denying your existence.
And it's really weird, right? Because I've actually seen a couple of his videos before. I watched his one on Civil War. I disagree with a bunch of it from like a pragmatic point of view, or at least a layman's point of view. But I was like, it seems okay. Like the idea that you have a channel where they go, this stuff happens in this movie. This is how it happens in real life. This is likely what would happen. And that's it. Quite a clean, I want to say, objective take, because it's law. It's all written. There's no way he can have his like, oh, this is how they should. Blah, blah, blah. But this video, I was like, good God, he's injected a lot of his like, this is the first video you can see his politics. And I was like, this is not going to be good for his channel, because now people are going to be like, oh, the thing we said on the stream was like, oh, now his audience will know that his takes can be infected by his politics. Because at least if they've never seen it before, they can assume, oh no, whatever his politics are doesn't matter because he keeps it out of his videos. But now it'll be like, oh, I might need to rewatch his videos and see if like a lot of it is just based on and so overt as well. He says that like the only reason people don't have trouble with the Terminator 2 scene is because Arnie doesn't have a vagina. And you listen to that, you're just like, all right, couple things. He actually edits the scene, by the way, so that Arnie doesn't get attacked first. He edits it to show that that Arnie's the aggressor. Like Captain Marvel, we were just like, that's really interesting that you have to do that, even though he's a mindless robot. He's like, oh, people don't say he's being immoral. It's like, he can't be moral. He's not. He's a tool. He's programmed. We're not sitting there going, yay, you're a hero. Anybody who says like he's the hero of the movie, would be saying it in a way that's more like a figure of speech. If you talk to them, they would agree that he's not necessarily a hero because he's not a moral actor. He's being controlled. The interesting part of the movie is the fact that he, as a machine, explains or tries to repeat back what emotions are. He tries to understand them, and then he admits that that's just not something he can do. And it's a sad realization because we've all connected to him. But it's a reality. It's part of, like, it's one of my favorite films of all time. And just listening to this guy be like, you think it's okay when he does it? I'm just like, he's a robot. Like, what are you expecting? He learns not to kill a kid, like, halfway through the movie. I was like, and using that to defend Captain Marvel, a self-professed warrior hero.
That logic, for one, sorry everybody, I didn't know the camera was stuck. I mean, I was looking at Legal Eagle while MauLer was talking. I was looking at Legal Eagle's Social Blade. It didn't hurt him that much, but
no, the videos. If he was to make like 3 of these in a row, it would start to bleed him out, I think.
Oh, I'm gonna make a response to it. Like that sounds like material to me. I'm not gonna attack him. I'm gonna make a response to this because yeah, I think Kate Law should really hit that. But yeah, so High Plains Drifter was like, stop staring into my soul. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I'm just staring at the screen. Yeah, I was looking at the social blade. Sorry. But so the Terminator argument is, I mean, it's dumb. I mean, I'm glad. See, you can respond to stuff and you not only say it's dumb, you tell us why it's dumb. And I like that. That's what I would just go, that's dumb. That's dumb. It's a dumb argument. He was a robot. He was a killing machine. And he learns to not be a killing machine and evolves. And yeah, And they were trying to rip off that scene and trying to. I watched the other deleted scenes, by the way, folks, because one of the things I may be working on is Captain Marvel, because it's available on digital now and you can watch the special features. There's nothing there. I looked.
Mm-hmm.
I watched every single one. There in the beginning, there's we wanted a powerful woman to be the first powerful superhero because there's never been a female superhero and there's never been a woman directing anything ever before. And this is the first time. And there's lots of growly voice, but there's nothing really like you can gotcha, but
something that's relevant as well that I probably should have mentioned because someone in chat just reminded me as well. In that point of the movie, we're not sure if he's a good guy. He's just arrived, and we know him as the villain of the previous movie, so we're like, "Ooh!" And then we see him do all that stuff. And the reason why it's much more interesting looking back is because all the stuff he did in there could work for a good robot or a bad robot. It's like you don't really know, and that's why the scene where he drops the roses and pulls out the shotgun is like iconic because it's the moment of, "Oh God, is John gonna die? Who's the good one? Who's the bad? What is happening?" And then it's revealed, and you're like, "Wow, that's great." And yeah, it's just listening to him break it down sounds as though he's just been told in a tweet that people think it's okay in the film it's referencing, and he's like, "Yeah, that's true," and then grabbed the scene online from a YouTube video and just put it in there. Because this is the thing, like when we're super passionate about media, we know all of the theming and the plot lines and stuff. When someone just rips it apart, like as the makes some kind of inaccurate statement, you'll have me ranting for like 10 minutes about how wrong you are. Just like stop talking about it. Because him doing that, the quote unquote reference, homage, ripoff, however anyone wants to call it, to me it's just slots in with the other ones, like the Last Action Hero reference, the examples of basically being like, remember this thing that was around this time? We're better than that. We're the new cool thing. We don't need this shit. And like, so I see that reference there, him going, "Take it," and throws the keys. Like, I was immediately like, okay, so that's the Terminator 2 thing. But it was like, why is that there? Like, are you trying, like, what is the message? Are you trying to say that she is like Arnie in this situation, which is not, that's not a good look. It doesn't even make sense because he's a robot. Are you trying to say we're this but better? It's like, you're not.
This was paying homage. Okay, this was two directors paying homage to something, and you just said that they've seen as a clip on YouTube. I would argue that neither of those directors have seen The Terminator. If you look at their background, they don't look like genre people in the first place, and they look like they were handpicked for reasons. And Marvel's going to be doing this a lot more in the future. They're going to be just plucking like independent film directors because they don't direct the whole film. One of the female directors who was offered the job turned it down because she wasn't directing the special effects scenes. She was just directing the actors, and they're like, "Yeah, we got the rest of the movie." So you're not really directing your entire movie. So that's what they're coming from. But it seems to me like the reason they use that scene, like you said, was because they didn't know the context of it. They just know, oh, it's a famous scene from Terminator 2, and we'll pay homage to it. We will fuck the context.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely respond to that video. That'll be fun for you to watch.
Yeah. All right. Let's get another couple super chats here. Man, it's getting. So you're working on a video right now? So am I.
Sorry, just to add on to that last topic, I think he's definitely going to lose fans permanently from that. There's going to be a couple people in his audience that using the word mansplaining seriously, that's going to, like, even I'm like, whether or not I think it's a dumb thing to say, I know using that word, you just killed a portion of your audience because they're just going to be like, man, Jesus. Like, I don't want to hear about this shit in this video. I thought I was here to learn about, like, how the law handles certain things in movies, not this political shit. Like, you're talking about that when I first got you. Like, it's just, why does it have to? And, he delivers it in a way that you can tell he's like, yeah, this is true. This is true. And we were talking about it on the podcast. We were like, what is mansplaining? It's like, it's when a man explains something condescendingly to a woman. I was like, why does that need a name? That just anyone can be condescending to anyone. Like, I don't.
It needs a name to push an agenda. There's a lot of words that are being thrown out there like, well, intersectionalism is a made up word. I mean, it's just straight up made up by a professor. It's even credited that way in on Wikipedia, which I could be wrong, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of that now to enact change. It feels Orwellian. And like I said in the beginning of the show, it's like people have a natural resistance to being told and forced to do things they don't want to do.
I did like, by the way, one of the top comments, if you scroll long enough on his video, is "You just got EFAP'd." I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently.
Oh, that's a thing. Yeah, no, that's like I said, you and Doomcock and Cecil are the three, and Wolf. And when I mean you, I mean the EFAP crew, by the way, are mentioned in so many freaking live streams. I watch it like an insane amount of live streams on YouTube, and you guys are mentioned well, I don't know, provoked is not the right word. Nobody's talking about you at all, and all of a sudden you'll just see a MauLer's awesome, Hail Doomcock, Cecil is love, Wolf, something or other. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. That's there's something legit about that. I like. Tectronic. Oh my God, you guys and your words. Technocrat. I can say that word. Technocrat concentration camp. Australian 7.99. Tell Wolf I am knocking one off right now and thinking about him. Well, hopefully you're drinking a beer or a cup of coffee. I'm hoping that's knocking one off. I'm not going to think about the other thing, but we'll tell them. Technocratic concentration camp. Eskimono Phono for $1.99. Got to sleep, but looking forward to the replay. Good night, good morning, good evening. The rookie critic who just hit 1,000 subscribers, the heart and soul of the Fandom Menace, $2. Hey, Gary. Hey, MauLer. Awesome stream. Thank you. Well, it became awesome when you came on. So.
Oh, you run awesome streams whether or not I'm here.
No. Sure. Eric K, $2. What about The Shadow? The Shadow knows the movie with Alec Baldwin, or the comic book, or the radio show, or The Shadow People. Eric K, The Shadow knows. That's all I know. And the movie with Alec Baldwin, I kind of liked. I know it's bad. That's a great example of it's not good, but I liked it. And I think I could say that about most things. I don't know. I'm not the best arbiter of what's good. I know what I like. Eric K for $2 says Chernobyl was really good. It's a must see. Like you're like, then we got to see it. RC, thank you for the 99-cent donation. Steve Carter, $5. Have 5 pounds as I am so late. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Steve Carter. And you don't have to pay because you're late. You could just enjoy whatever. This thing replays. I'm not going to pull it down or anything. I'm going to keep it up. I don't give a crap about the algorithm right now. The algorithm's treating me pretty nice no matter what I do. So I'm going to knock on wood when I say that. I mean, I'm not getting 1,000 subs a day, but I'm getting like 300-400. That's pretty good. That's nothing to pee at or whatever. Peter Davis, an Australian, $2. Heart, not head. Yes. It depends on the situation, Peter. You know what I'm saying? Blue Collar, thank you for the Australian $2. Blue Collar Daily. Oh, that's $5. He's American. After The Last Jedi, haven't left a movie so shook since I accidentally thought Saving Private Ryan was a comedy. I chose for our anniversary. I realized I'm hated. I don't know if you ever watched the Naked Gun movie.
Oh yeah.
My favorite one is when they're on their date montage and they walk out of Platoon and they're laughing like it was. Yeah, it's good stuff.
They haven't remade that yet, or have they?
No, they haven't. And
wasn't Ed Helms set to remake it at one point as Leslie Nielsen's character? And I was just like, well, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it does sound horrible. The only reason the joke works is because Leslie Nielsen was the most stoic, serious actor for decades in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So imagine like Anthony Hopkins just wanted to start taking up comedy for no, he's not known serious enough. It has to be like a serious. Do we even have an actor like that anymore? I'm trying to think of a.
Well, this is the thing. There's something quite special about Leslie Nielsen. It's tough to explain it, but I feel like Naked Gun should die with him. And those films are completely rewatchable. They're not going to die anytime soon. there's very few jokes that age. A lot of them are just like perspective based or just common sense based. Like there's no like a reference to a piece of technology or a brand that's not around anymore are the ones I'm talking about, where some people watching it today might be like, huh? But as long as you can get people over the fact that it's an old movie, which by the way, like I joked about this on my stream. I said no good movies came out previously to like 1980. Also like that, and a couple of people took me seriously. And I was like, guys, I've talked about some of my favorite movies. I was like, it's a joke. I hate people who are like, nah, once you go back far enough, they're not worth watching. It's like, no, great stories are not limited by time.
God, no.
It's why we have such like classic structures for stories, because we've been telling them for like thousands of years.
Yeah. There is no TV show on the planet ever that will be written better than the Twilight Zone was. Period. It'll never ever happen. I've never heard anybody argue me on that. That's just how I feel. These are stories that stand the test of time. They were old when I was a kid, and they talked to me then, and it hasn't changed now. It just keeps getting desecrated by lesser men and women as time goes on.
Oh, right. Yeah. Peel did a remake of it, right?
Yep. And it's freaking terrible. I mean,
I've heard
just terrible. And just for all those people who say I'm negative about everything, I don't want to review it because I hate it. I mean, like, I'm not going to just, there's certain things I care about and I want to save. And there's certain things that, you know what, I don't want there to be another Twilight Zone. They could die. Police Squad. Yes, I did want to mention to MauLer Police Squad. So you've seen the show that Naked Gun was based on, right?
I don't think I've seen that. No.
Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen. So the reason Naked Gun films were made is because it was a half-hour TV show that failed miserably in America because the executives, people loved it. It got great ratings, but the executives couldn't understand it at the time. So they canceled it. So go find yourself season 1 of Police Squad, and you will, for one, you'll see some repeated jokes, but you'll also, it's hilarious. It's actually better than the movies. So it's done in a structure of a police show, and it's done in that airplane naked. It's Leslie Nielsen. It's the same cast and everything. So yeah, Police Squad, check it out. Where's it streaming? Anybody? When are we getting Dave Cullen on a live stream? Roland Holmes soon. He emailed me. I emailed him back. God, he did the best video today. It was so funny. When he was bringing up, it was, you don't do anything for me, Charles. I'm in a wheelchair, stuff like that. Captain Mary Sue SJW $1.99 Cotilla's Taco Shop in Santee has the best carne asada burrito. When I'm down in San Diego, Captain, I will drive. Santee's out of the way, but I'll go, and I will put that to the test, because carne asada burritos the only true carne asada burrito can be found in the San Diego area. Anytime you get out of the San Diego area, it's just the people want to put rice in it, and it's just wrong. Technocratic Concentration Camp 799. Can they afford to get David Tennant to write for Doctor Who and have Michael Sheen as the Doctor? That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be very cool.
Do you know, I have a friend who adores all of Doctor Who, and it was the latest season that he said he's broken, he's done, couldn't deal with, and he's very much in favor of a female Doctor. He doesn't care about that. He's just like, the writing was so goddamn awful that he's done. And I was just like, whoa, if you're out, like it's got to be some of the worst probably. And it's just kind of crazy. Everything seems kind of cataclysmic right now. Over the, I want to say from 2017 to 19. Franchises going down the drain. Like, everything is just like, I say this like it's not sad. It's really sad.
It's astounding, like, how quickly they're ruining everything, and the MCU is probably right behind now. It's like the one shining beacon of light is going to hell, and I honestly, I sometimes I think I know why, and then I'm stunned that they double and triple and quadruple down. And however you feel, like you just mentioned Doctor Who, I don't like the female Doctor, but I can understand why people do, and that's great. But we can all agree that the writing sucked. It was terrible. They're not going to change it. They're bringing back the same people, and it's like, you just don't stand a chance. You didn't listen to anybody, and I think part of it is because they can hear so many people now, they're choosing not to, and they're starting to listen to themselves when they used to, like Hollywood used to listen to people. Like there was a time where they cared if they made something good. I can't explain what's going on other than fuckery.
Have you seen that Terminator trailer?
Yeah. Oh, God. It's gonna.
And it's like, guys, Terminator's been killed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once enough time passes, Terminator, like a lot of franchises, they will rebuild their reputation because everyone forgets about that terrible movie that came out because the memory of the originals transcend time pretty much. So you go back to being like, Terminator. No, they're making another one. No. And then you see the trailer and it's like, oh God.
Aside from the just ridiculousness of the cast, I mean, like, what really is that dumb CG at the end where they're in a plane in the air and it looks like a bad video game? I'm like, oh man, here's another flop, and it's just going to be a waste of money. The movie's going to freaking flop. I don't care if they say Tim Miller directed it, James Cameron's name is producer. Well, his name as a producer didn't help Alita Battle Angel.
He also promoted Genesis, which is possibly the most insulting movie for me that exists. Because you talk about how you're like, I ruined the continuity of Game of Thrones, or Star Wars screwed up, like assassinated Luke, has changed the rules. So it deleted Terminator 1 and 2. Deleted. It's quite hard to explain just how much that pisses me off, but here we are.
Here we are. Janet Luna Johnson, watch the Orville. By the way, I forgot to recommend that to you. The Orville. It's pretty good.
I've heard about that. And I think it wouldn't be doing anywhere near as well if not for the fact that everything is cataclysmically bad. And so this show is like, hey, this show, you know what? Let's put our weight behind this show. It seems to have some heart. It seems to be trying. It seems to want to actually, not be an asshole. So let's try this one.
I'm convinced that's partially why Aquaman did well. It wasn't a good movie. It just wasn't bad, and it wasn't preachy at all. It's just like, hey, let's be a superhero movie. It's like, whoa. Wow. Eric K says, hey, Gary, was not around to hear if you liked Phil's in a super chat last time. Pizza's the best thing, though. I like Phil's, but it's just the Phil's near me. There's no parking, Eric. But it's actually close, but I can't. There's nowhere to park. I'd have to double park, run in, get my coffee, and yeah. Going to continue the season reviews of the greatest show in television history, The Venture Brothers. Been a fan since the pilot. Kevin Schoenfeld, yes. The Venture Brothers is the best show on television, and when it returns, I will review it. There was 2 years between seasons, 3 years between seasons, so yeah, I love Venture Brothers. Absolutely adore it. Tell Wolf. Okay, now I read that one. Got to go back to sleeping. Hey, Gary. Okay, now I'm caught up on those. RC, thank you for the 99 cents. Scaro Trek, $2. Did you get the book on Roman history I sent you? Yes, I read Friday Night Tights. Scaro Trek, I read your note. I read your letter, and I did receive the book. Is it still? It's out there now, but yeah, if you go to nerdrotic.com and look at the Friday Night Tights during Toxic Mailbag, I read your note. Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I will read it, and when I read it, I will get back to you. But very kind of you. You're awesome. Thank you. Tech Guy, $2. Game of Thrones wins worst written scripts award. Yes, it should. It will. Game of Thrones season 8 is, I don't think it was being hyperbolic saying it was historic. I don't think anybody will ever forget this in the history. I mean, people will not even know what the show is in 75 years, but they'll know that it failed in a miserable way.
What would be more historic in this topic genre format? Like what could be? This show's been running for nearly a decade. It's the height of media for our current culture. Like what would beat this? And it's like Star Wars maybe, and it's like, it's not really the same, but yeah, that too. Nobody's forgetting Star Wars is
no
obliteration as well.
But we cannot deny that Game of Thrones failing muted the conversation for Avengers Endgame on YouTube. Like nobody, it just like quieted that. Avengers Endgame and The Long Night came out the same weekend, right? or was it right around? Yeah, I think it was the same weekend, maybe before that, but very close to each other. And nobody was talking about Endgame after The Long Night came out. And when The Long Night came out, MauLer was hating it, or I was hating it, but a lot of people were still liking the show. And then it was The Last of the Starks, and that's when shit got crazy.
Yeah,
that's when it got crazy. And I started getting like 1,000 subs a day. That was insane. And having almost 20,000 people in live chats. That was a little nerve-wracking.
Funny though that there's still bad blood with the past seasons of like Game of Thrones. So like I've been keeping track of I know as well as you probably know, a lot of people are doing their takes on Game of Thrones season 8. A lot of them take longer than others. I'm obviously one of them. There's a lot of people out there who do like a 2-hour take or like a breakdown, and I love all of them. I just want to see everyone's takes, even people who I completely disagree with. Go for it, why not? Ralph the Movie Maker put out his part 1, and I was watching it, and he was describing how, there's been problems in the other seasons, like season 5, and he mentions like some things that went wrong, and he went, but at the very least, they handled Stannis really well, and they did a lot with blah 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 blah. And I had to like stop and rewind. I was like, what'd you say? And like he shows the picture of the shot of where he dies, and then I was like, nope, I'm leaving a comment, and I like said something snarky about how you said this, I was already out, like that sort of thing. And then I checked back a couple days later at the top comments, and I don't know where mine is. It doesn't really matter. But near enough every top comment is just like, what did you say about Stannis? It's like, why did you say that about Stannis? It's like you were joking about Stannis, right? And yeah, everyone is still very upset about what they did to Stannis, to the point where if someone says, like, yeah, Stannis was really well handled, it's like, boo. Even if you're talking about how bad season 8 is, boo.
Oh, when did that video come out? I've got to watch that now. That's
well, this is the thing. I still need to watch the rest of it. I haven't gotten around to it, which is my bad. But apparently, that's how much it subconsciously put me off like watching the video.
Stannis was. I thought the guy who played him was okay. I feel like Wolf.
I liked Stephen Delaney. I quite liked him, but I could see why people have issues because Stannis is quite the character in the books. You need quite a strong actor behind him.
Better casting would have been Mark Strong. Absolutely is Stannis. Like in every way, shape, or form, he is Stannis. And I mean like stoic. Mark Strong has been playing some different type of roles lately where he's actually not the bad guy and he's a good guy, and it's good. We find out he's an extremely charming character. But I'm talking like old Mark Strong is.
Yeah, I think he could do a great Stannis, actually. Yeah.
And or a lot of people say Mads Mikkelsen. He would be actually a better Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, I was about to say I'd rather him be a Greyjoy.
Yeah.
That's the link to the video, by the way. And so just scrolling down, you've got Stannis was really handled really well, and so just put 20 good men, which is Ramsay defeats Stannis almost entirely with 20 good men, because that was almost a meme with how poorly written that was. Stannis, Baratheon, and well handled are a series of words that should never that show never fucking did after season 2. There you go.
Never ever. Oh, it's going to take me a long time to do these videos, but I would love to do one on Stannis because I adore him in the books. You know what? If when you have time someday, I don't want to put you on the spot. Like this isn't for sure. I'm just throwing it out there. I'd love to have a conversation with you about like specific characters from book.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Do that. That would be great.
You can make a good hour out of any of them. That's kind of what my plan is for once I get to the season coverage. I want to rewatch the show and just follow everybody's stories, and because the current theory, at least for certain characters like Dany, Jaime, less so with Jon, but like this whole, they start with A, they go B, C, D, E, D, and they get like halfway through the alphabet, and then they just shortcut right back to A right at the end. And it's like, you guys, if you want to do that, you got to put way more legwork in. But I wouldn't have advised it anyway. If they told me in concept, we're going to take Jaime all around in a big circle, I'd be like, nah, guys, this is a classic redemption story here. You don't want to bring him back to, like, we're rooting for him right now. The last thing you need is for him to just decide. You know when he says, like, I'm a hateful person? I remember being like, what do you mean by that? You don't really hate anybody. You don't even like that you have to hate Ned Stark because he hates you. Like, you don't even want to.
No. And the way George, this is how I'm guessing George is going to tell this redemption arc. It's going to have a bittersweet. George loves to do bittersweet. God, I'd be plug your ears, people who haven't read the books yet. Plug your ears now, just for a second. Jamie and Brienne, definitely connected in the books, but not as hardcore as they have in the show. But there's a thing there. There's definitely a thing. And he sent her off. Well, Brienne of Tarth almost dies at the end of the fourth book, but she has to do something to save Pod. And that thing is to agree to bring Jaime Lannister to Lady Stoneheart. And she agrees. And the last time we see her is in the one Jaime chapter that's in A Dance with Dragons. And Jaime just does this brilliant goddamn plan of bringing the Riverlands to peace without firing an arrow, without killing a single person, and more importantly, not taking up arms against a Stark or a Tully, which he promised Catelyn Stark to do because his honor means something to him. And this is where the show completely fucking lost it. And Jaime does this great story where he's got Edmure Tully and he convinces him to give up the castle. And the Blackfish does not die. He escapes because he's a goddamn Blackfish. And he convinces him to give up the castle by threatening to put his baby in a trebuchet. So he's still a dick, but he does it with honor. And then at the end of all this, he gets the last two lords who are holding out, and they're both like, they're not liege lords. They're just two families that have fucking hated each other. The Hatfields and McCoys. I don't know if you ever heard that, but they're the Hatfields and McCoys of the Riverlands. Jaime gets them through honor to get them to make peace, and even gets a guy who started calling him Kingslayer to show that he's like, you've actually done this with honor. He's starting to turn people, like getting people to like each other. And then Brienne shows up and says, "Hey, Jaime, I need you to come with me somewhere." He's all, "Sure." And then he's like, "God, she looks terrible. She looks like she's aged 10 years and half of her face is missing." Because yeah, in the books, half of her face gets bitten off by Biter. But yeah, and that's where we're left at it. And I think it will be a situation where, yeah, they love each other, and he just completed his redemptive arc. You could say that like it was done right there. He brought peace to the Riverlands, and maybe he's going to get killed by Brienne. I don't know, but that's George. That's how they could have done it. Not going back to goddamn Cersei and what a bunch of shit that was. But yeah, sorry. I love the books, man. I would love to talk to you about like specific characters for like an hour or 2 or 5. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, because the first half of the conversation is like, oh, it's so handled well in the books. It's like, now let's talk about the show.
Yep.
And yeah, if they're post season 4, it's very likely we're in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
It's like it's funny. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, it doesn't like the end of season 4 because Tywin died." I'm like, no. Tywin can die. It's okay. It's a really awesome death too. Because as much as I respect and enjoy the character, there's something wonderful about a man who's consumed with pride to die on the toilet.
Yes, yes, and it's done. It's done in such a way. This is how talented George is. Okay, it's done in such a way where you, you're aware of like they're gonna kill the great Tywin Lannister on the goddamn toilet, but it still made sense within the story. He mixes in the irony with something that's very believable. I can't even put words to it, like how well.
Do you know the reasoning for why he's on the toilet potentially? It's a really interesting theory.
Oh, I don't know this theory. What's that?
So Oberyn killed the Mountain and Tywin specifically. He's got the Mountain done in the fight. So Oberyn, being very intelligent, was like possible backup plan for assassinating Tywin. He's a well-known poisoner. And if you remember in the book, when Pycelle and Cersei are overseeing Tywin's body, there's a lot of commentary about how much it smells.
Yes.
It's like disgusting, as if it's rotting from the inside. And the implication is that Oberyn had already poisoned him, and he was on the toilet because he was having extremely bad bowel movements, and he was dying. And then Tyrion happened to come in at the wrong time to do the exact same job. And I find that, yeah, and I just like, I love that kind of writing where it's just like, God, that could very well be what was happening. I could believe that 100%.
I'll search around. I think I've heard something about that before. I'll search around and see if, because George, I mean, answers questions like that all the time. That's very interesting. I just always assumed it was because he got shot in the freaking bowels and they released everywhere when he got shot. But you still would have been able to clean that up. That's yeah, that makes sense. Plus, Oberyn would do something like that.
Mm-hmm. I love Tywin and Oberyn's conversation in season 4.
Yep.
So good.
And that's something that's not in the books. So, you know, that's I mean, it's interesting.
I think I don't know what it is about Tywin, but maybe it was easy to write for him because it was just he's just really intelligent, understands every character. I don't know, maybe there's something about that makes him really smooth to write, but or maybe it's just Charles Dance makes every single sentence sound important and well focused. I don't know.
He's a true thespian.
Yes.
Game of Thrones wins worst script awards. I've already. Tech Guy says a planned coordinated attack to destroy franchises. I think it's there. There is something planned going on. But I don't think it's like there's a guy. I definitely don't think there's a white male with a cigar coordinating everything. But I think there is a group of like-minded individuals going on the same path for the same ends. That's a conversation for another day. Captain Spire, $5. MauLer, been a long time, but always wanted to tell you and Wolf how much I appreciated your content and effort in The Last Jedi, the not so great debate. That's from Captain Spire.
That was actually one of me and Wolf's first outings as creating content together. The context is we had spoken once. We'd had a debate live on his channel about Captain America Civil War because he'd previously said something like all Marvel movies suck and Civil War is just another one of the crappier ones. While I think I controversially hold it as the best superhero movie that exists, and I'm planning on making a video to explain why eventually. But I think it's really well written. So we had this really long conversation about that, and then we were getting to be quite good friends, passing around PMs. And one day he's like, "Hey, you free?" I was like, "Oh, why?" And he was like, "Well, asshole has been pinging me day after day about how I'm wrong about The Last Jedi on my Discord server, and I finally managed to get him into a live chat. He wants to debate it." I was wondering if you want to pop in as well, because apparently he's done a bit of like prep work and he's seen your videos, and so you'll have a lot to be able to respond to. And I was like, "Oh, sure." You can watch it. It's still on Wolf's channel. It's called The Not So Great Debate, I believe. We almost this is the thing. You've talked to me. I'm very, very civil and calm. Wolf, I think, throws a couple of insults in there every once in a while, but the guy was like almost brought to tears talking about how The Last Jedi is good, and some of the arguments he made are still memed to this day. Every time we talked about any kind of continuity error, he would say, "Well, it's the Disney fanatical universe." And we'd be like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "It's the Disney fanatical universe. They don't have to do anything with anything else. It's just them." We were like, "What are you saying?" And he was like, "Disney fanatical universe."
The Disney fanatical universe. I will remember that one. I'll use that anytime Wolf tells me about a continuity error in Expanse. I'm going to say the Disney fanatical universe.
Just mention the word fanatical universe and you'll get a laugh out of him, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. What is a Sling Blade is greater than Blade? No, I like, okay, yeah, it's probably a greater movie and deserves awards, but I'd rather watch Blade. Doesn't that make it what makes a better movie? One that will win an award and get a lot of praise, or one you'd rather watch more?
You asking me?
Yeah.
What's your take first? I want to think about
I think a better movie is one you'd rather watch more. I think.
Well, I guess it depends on what better means. It's a word that can come into a lot of different standards.
That's true. Yeah.
Because there are movies that I think, but I'd still prefer to watch the sum, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I want to watch King of Monsters the second it's out on like 4K or whatever, but I didn't think it was very good. So you might be like, "Oh, well, that doesn't make any sense." I'd be like, "Well, I mean, it's it's two different standards at once, I guess."
Yeah. No. Hey, you're preaching to the choir on that stuff. I like I said, I own the DCEU movies on Blu-ray because I like to watch the fight scenes. Because honestly, I think the Ben Affleck overly violent Batman scene in Superman vs. Batman is like the first time I actually seen the Batman that the comic book Batman come to life, like the real Batman. Christian Bale Batman is better by every I hate the costume. I cannot stand the Nolan costume. I think it's terrible. But Christian Bale's a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. But the Ben Affleck fight scene where he's fighting all the criminals and giving them compound fractures and possibly killing somebody is still the best Batman action scene I've seen. And as far as like Batman, I can see Batman in a mostly Batman costume, who's big, not skinny, kicking some ass. Kicks a little too much ass, and I'm one of those guys. Batman should not effing kill ever. Zack Snyder, suck it. Batman should not kill.
You've seen his take on that, right?
Yeah, that's why he should not be near the characters. That's why. I mean, straight up, he doesn't understand. Well, Hollywood doesn't understand. I think a lot of writers out there are just so jaded. They would never get that somebody with actual principles, standards, and that's why he is the Knight. He is the Dark Knight. He is Batman. Otherwise, he's just the fucking Punisher.
Yeah. There's a reason why, like Captain America not being altruistic. It would be like, why did you call this person Captain America?
Yep. And when Captain America even has doubt within his comics, he stops being Captain America. He becomes Nomad and all the other things. Bale was great in Prestige. I love Prestige. I thought it was good. It's nonsensical, but it's got a lot of cool things in it that I like. So I'm a more of I just like things by my gut. I don't think about them too much. That should tell you when a show is that bad where I start picking apart canon and continuity errors, it has to be really freaking bad, because I'm usually not the kind of person who picks that stuff out. I usually just go, it's a superhero movie. It's a green guy jumping around. It's a blue guy bamfing.
We probably have different takes on that. For me, it's like, I love it when they do their very best to stay in continuity, but it's about like the amount of and what degree of the inconsistencies are, I suppose. Because Green Man running around, like, I can believe it if you sell it to me in a believable. Because we could have that one day in our world. Who knows?
We could, and you just said the keywords there. If you sell it to me, if you're a talented enough person to make me think, and that's where The Expanse gets me. And maybe it's because I'm dumb. No, a lot of people love The Expanse. The Expanse sells me that this is a real world. I'm like bought in 100%. And once you buy in, but not everything is for everybody. But bam,
there's lots to appreciate about Expanse. There's no denying that. It's just again, I have absurdly high standards, I guess. And I'm just like, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to talking to you about, and I'm curious if you'll conclude like, does this stuff really matter? And I'll be like, well, and we can talk about that.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to ruin any of it here, but
yeah, that's why I was going to say.
I will defend the Expanse. I will defend the Expanse with my dying breath. I will, unless it goes woke in season 4, then fuck it. But
is season 4 not out yet? Is that
no? It's not out yet. It's not out yet. I've been pushing that show since the beginning of my channel. Actually, the first subscriber bump I ever got was to help save the show. I'm pretty sure I was the first person on YouTube announcing it got canceled, because it got announced late at night. I was up finishing a live stream. Somebody tweeted at me, Expanse is canceled. And I like started a live stream like 2 minutes after that. I'm like, started a live stream going, God damn it. It's been canceled. And that was the first video that did well for me. Really. Why is time travel such a difficult genre, Nerdrotic? The initial act of time travel always inevitably creates multiverses. Am I wrong? And not in Doctor Who. Doctor Who does not do string theory. There is other dimensions. It's extremely difficult, though. And they've only...
I'm not sure how I would do time travel if I ever wanted to write a story on it, because, good God, if I've learned anything from watching so many time travel stories, just don't do it.
Yeah. Dr. Meatball, you're right in most everything else, though. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're going to, like... Because the rules, you got to set, like, specific rules. Like, it's, Back to the Future does it right, because again, it sells it to you. It sells you that there's these rules in this world that I buy, and it's because it's kind of a comedy and it's a kind of an 80s movie, but it's kind of a perfect movie too. You buy it. For me, like Farscape, we just talked about Farscape. I like Farscape because I like the characters. The puppets can look, actually, I buy into everything. Once I like a group of characters, I just buy in. That's why I like Buffy. That's why I like Angel. That's why I like
we should talk about Buffy and Angel.
Yeah.
How good you met? That's like Buffy's like my favorite show of all time.
It's my favorite all-time show. Yeah.
Angel's series ending is what I would defend as the best TV show ending that there is.
Okay, that's why we're friends. It's the best series finale of any TV show.
You know what's funny? When I was a kid and I first watched it, I was like, banging my hands like, no, I have to see what happens next. And then watching it as an adult, I was like, oh no, this is the perfect way to end it. It's pitch. There's nothing better than this. And there's arguments to this day about whether or not that ending was a result of like there wasn't supposed to be, because it was supposed to be a season 6, or at least they wanted to carry on, and that they got cancelled because Joss Whedon rushed the producers to get an answer on whether or not his actors would need to make arrangements to stay for another year in places they were in, which is a noble reason to push, but it did cost the show because they probably would have got another season if he'd waited, and it could have potentially been a great season. The idea of like a post-apocalyptic LA.
Yeah, we were supposed to get Winifred Burkle back.
Yep,
back. But I liked her much better the way she was.
But I still loved everything in season 5. There's a couple of like hitches, but like it's the reason I put 3 people through Buffy and Angel is Angel season 5 specifically. There's a lot of great stuff along the way, undeniably, but good God, I adore that season. There's actually a video I want to show you now, just because there's a whole channel. Have you ever heard of the channel Passion of the Nerd?
I have to look at it visually. Hang on, let me.
This is actually a channel you'd probably love, thinking about it. He's a friend of mine that I found specifically because I love Buffy. He was like the only channel on YouTube who was going in depth judging Angel and Buffy. And he's got a video saying why you should watch Angel season 5, sorry, not 4. And it just encapsulates how I feel about it. I can't wait for him to cover it because he's going episode by episode. He's only up to season 5 of Buffy now.
Let's see. God, I would make videos like that all day long. Oh, fuck. The Freshman. 2 years ago. 53,000 views on his. Is this just a review of a Buffy episode?
It's funny. He's like a microcosm of what I do. He does a plot summary and then he talks about what was important about the episode. He's much more condensed than I am. Like, but he's very much an inspiration for what I got my channel started for. I was watching him before I started doing videos. He's been going for a very long time. Really great guy. I'm planning on promoting him at some point in a suitable way on my channel.
I just put his link in the description, everybody. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any like politics or anything. This is just a guy who likes a TV show and wants to talk you into it, or a girl. I don't know. Is it a guy?
He is a guy. And it's complicated because Buffy, obviously, as you would know, there's a lot of political and social aspects of the show, and so that he has to talk about them every once in a while, and he does annoy his fans here and there with commentary. I've always liked it. I've always appreciated his perspective, that sort of thing. So it's really up to what everyone thinks. But some of his coverage is so amazing. He like I don't know if you remember the episode Amends, but it's when Angel is considering killing himself because he doesn't want to be used to kill Buffy, and the myth of Sisyphus, as well as a shit ton of philosophical books, get referenced, and he goes through all of them and what the whole episode is trying to do. And it's the most satisfying thing, because my trouble with Buffy and Angel was like, I really like these shows and I can't explain why very well. And then I watched his videos and I was like, oh, there we go. It's like, it's all here.
I love them. And I also hate what they've kind of done to TV, because a lot of people have tried to emulate Joss Whedon and just can't, and we get this and now it's like devolved in this like Whedon speak that's horrible and cringy. And plus Joss Whedon as a person I haven't been a fan of I'm a fan of his creative work, not a fan of the human being that much. And also I had a friend who was he briefly hosted a couple things on this channel, if you dig deep, who was an actor on the show. He was a child actor He was I'm forgetting the name of the episode, the one where Xander is on the swim team, and the swim team is God, they're fighting what the hell? Like a
You're talking about
Buffy season
Go
2.
Fish.
Yes, Go Fish. Yeah, he's in he's on the swim team. He's the hairy guy. He's the one guy who's not like super good looking. That's my friend Aaron. And he also plays Captain Janeway's son, which you only see as in a photograph. That's Aaron in Voyager. But yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I gotta wrap things up, man.
I was gonna say, like, I could talk your head off about Buffy and Angel.
Oh no, that's good. That's good because like I have nobody to talk about it to. So
that's
now
how I feel.
I do.
I force people to watch it. Like, it's a show from the 90s. Just watch it.
I just got I've always had it digitally because when I worked at Technicolor, I was able to take home whatever I wanted off the server. So I had Buffy and Angel. I got them all, but I finally got the DVD. I saw them at Walmart of all places because I don't go anytime I get near a Walmart because they're not near me. It's this big store that sells everything. So I'm out of town. And I was actually going on a TV show, and I ran into a Walmart and I saw Angel, the full complete season for Angel for $30. For $30, I'm like, wow. I don't care. It's on DVD. I'm taking it. So yeah, I'll watch it. I'll start watching this crap all the way through, and we can talk about it, dude. We can talk about Game of Thrones and
yeah. Just real quick though, Wesley Wyndham-Pryce's story. That's something that I think everybody should see. Just it goes from Buffy season 3 all the way through to Angel season 5. A character that is essentially one thing and completely unrecognizable by the end of it.
Greatest character arc in the history of television.
I didn't want to say that because I figured that you wouldn't. he's a contender for my favorite character in media, which is not something I say lightly.
That's only to be followed by Spike, but
Spike's amazing as well.
But yeah, Wesley Wyndham-Pryce has the greatest character arc for me for a single person in television. Period.
Yeah, I want to make a video specifically about Wesley. It blows my mind how amazingly well that happened. And I have a feeling it's because he was kind of a throwaway. They brought him in to replace a different character, and they were just like, what can we do with this guy? Like, he's this pompous idiot, and they just keep having... He's pretty much defined by tragedy. Constant and horrible tragedy. And watching any new friend that I put through Angel, watching him in season 5 go through what he goes through, it's always so rough, but it's just amazing storytelling.
It is. So you know that, and they're mentioning it here in the super chats. You know that the seasons got continued in the comics.
Yes, Buffy gets weird in the comics, and I know that Angel continued into the After the Fall sort of stuff. But you know, call me a purist or whatever. I'm just like, it's Angel seasons 1 through 5 is it for me. I don't need to know what happens next. I'm very, very. It's, you know how I've talked about how concerned I was with the Night King and the theme of Game of Thrones. It's the same thing with Angel. If someone said, oh, they continued to fight and then they won and evil was vanquished, I'd be like, no, that didn't happen. And then you go like, oh, that's not what happens in the comics. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's the perfect ending. I don't need anything else. And so when people talk about how it's hard to end a show, I'm like, Angel did it. Angel did it perfectly.
See, okay, so I'm going to be maybe the outlier that I liked Buffy season 8 in the comics quite a bit because Joss Whedon came out and said it was like a Buffy I could do with unlimited budget, and it just shows the purity and the greatness of comic books. So he knows what medium he was writing for.
That's fair. I read like a synopsis, so I'm really not the guy to ask about that.
It's interesting. Does it count in my head? No. The TV show is a TV show. A comic book is a comic book. It's a story that you can decide to continue with or not. But to me, it ends. It ends with the show. Otherwise, you make a show. But I do agree with Stan. Okay. Theon, okay, how am I saying this? Stan, the one and only for $5. That season 9 and anything after that, I couldn't read. Woke politics got shoehorned in Buffy Dark Horse Comics around season 9, and Billy. It was terrible pandering, blah blah blah, and it was. I don't mean to blah blah blah, but it was terrible pandering, and that's when things started in comics. Stan, so very astute. Nicholas Horton, £2. Buffy and Angel continued in comics. It did, and I own them all. I've read them all. I've read them all. I've
Isn't
got.
that funny, by the way? We'll often be called sexist, but it's like favorite TV show is led by a woman, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I stopped qualifying. I'm like, my favorite show is Buffy, but whatever. And like it's also a show that means a ton to me because like it's me and Mrs. Nerdrotic, it's our favorite show together, and we always watch it together, and it's kind of like the thing we can do and talk about and nerd out about too. So yeah.
Started watching it when I was 9. I learned a lot from those shows.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you were 9. Oh, you youngster. When Buffy started, I was pretty young. It was the 90s, right? When was this first season?
97, I believe season 1 was released.
I was 27, so I wasn't super old. Yeah, Luke Perry's dead. That's weird. Yeah.
Is that recent?
Yeah, Luke Perry died a month ago. Yeah.
How did he die?
Aneurysm, something like that.
Damn.
Yeah. I have Sideshow. I have all the Buffy Sideshow, all the Angel and Buffy Sideshow figures. I have them all, and I haven't displayed them yet. But the one I do, I have Laura. You can hear. You'll recognize. You can see them. Or am I? Oh, the camera's not moving. There's a couple right there.
I think is that Lorne I can see.
And you can see Lauren right next, and then if he's covering up Mal, but if you go to the next shelf over on the right, you're going to see Spike and Angel.
Yeah. Oh my god, those two as a buddy cops. Oh my god, it's just quality.
It's the best. All right, I got to read a couple super chats. I got to get the hell out of here. It's like 5:00. It's like I'm getting prepared for EFAP.
This is the primer.
But everybody, thanks for hanging in. I don't even know how many people are watching still, but my wrenches, everybody, thanks. Who had a stroke? He had a stroke. Thank you, Mary Highland. I appreciate
and he was in the Buffy movie as well, which is an interesting connection.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Which I own. Irish King says happens all the time. Just watch Doomcock and EVS's stream on William Shatner. And EVS's stream on William Shatner. Do these kids know that Star Trek took on real racism and discrimination and forced violent blowback? Did they do a stream? Did those guys stream? I didn't know. Or video. Woke Paul, but yeah, Irish King. The William Shatner thing, it goes deeper than that. There's a lot of people who call themselves Star Trek fans who who attack William Shatner. I don't know how you could be a Star Trek fan and not like William Shatner. I mean, I think that really tells you what Star Trek fandom, where it is right now, where it's at. And it's in the shitter. It's in the lowest of the low. It's never been this low. Even when there was no I'm talking about between the original series and the movie, which actually arguably that was probably when it was at its strongest. It's never been this bad. And it's getting worse. It's aging out. Kids don't give a shit about Star Trek. And I did my unscientific test of had my kid asking around at a school, and most of the kids didn't even know what it was. That's where you're at with Star Trek. Thank you everybody who's given a super chat. If I missed, if I missed one, I will get it on Friday. I owe you guys toxic mailbag. I'm sorry. And we'll do all the make it up on Friday. MauLer, please plug your channel. Your great channel.
I don't know what to. I feel like I've plugged it before. It's all good. We're just friends having a chat at this point.
Oh, that's great.
There's no need.
Subscribe to my friend MauLer. Please subscribe to Word of Wolf and Rags and everybody involved in EFAP. These are like the creme de la creme of YouTube. Everybody in the fandom menace. It is always a pleasure to have you on, and I could seriously talk to you for hours. Now that we're going down the Angel Buffy,
I was gonna say, yeah. Once I finally got a conversation with the guy who runs that channel, I was like, "You better have a day free." There's so much to go over. Do you remember the controversy over Seeing Red?
Yes,
that's the name of the episode. I can talk forever about how, because half the fan base is still split on how that destroys a lot of the show, or if it's perfectly within character and important to have happen. And very controversial and interesting conversation. I happened to fall on the side that I thought it was 100% not only necessary, makes sense, but it's what was needed to put Spike on his journey. It had to be something that he would hate himself for.
I
But
agree with you.
yeah, a lot of people get
I,
very upset by it, and
I'm trying to think what
he's
upset me
going to
about
be covering it in about 2 years from now. So like he started this coverage like I want to say potentially 5 years ago, I think. And he's been dreading the idea of getting to that episode because as soon as he does, he's gonna have to break down all of the elements. Oh, and my god, dude, the body. That episode is something else.
Yeah, yes. Oh my God. It took me a minute to sink in there. I was just looking at Seeing Red was accident for some reason the episode was released early. I was not aware of this. In America, the episode somehow syndicated onto UPN affiliates a week early by accident. Oh, whoops.
Mm.
I know the whole all of season 6. All right. There was out of the writers' room, like 3 of the 5 or 6 guys were getting divorced. Like everybody was in super dark spaces, and
It's a
that's why
very dark season of
it's a
TV.
really dark season of TV. The body is amazing. One of my favorite episodes, that I'm blanking on the title, was the one where Buffy's in the asylum and she's imagining the world that she's a vampire slayer. And they never
Yeah.
answer the question at the end whether she's still in the asylum or not. I love that so much.
Is that called Real Me or is it something else? Hang on, I should know this. I'm supposed to be good at this stuff.
I am too, but Normal Again.
Normal Again. That's
Normal Again. Yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite episodes because it leaves the question very open, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there's evidence to support both, and you'll have people be like, "No, it's definitely not," and I'll be like, "Da da 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 da." It supports both. Trust me, it supports both. And yeah, Seeing Red is such your jaw drops as that episode finishes with and I feel like I don't want to spoil it because there's so many people who wouldn't have seen it just because nobody takes Buffy that seriously anymore as an IP. It's just like, oh, it's that silly show with blah blah blah. So I recommend everyone watch it. But the idea that you spend the whole show fighting magical demons from different dimensions and all this nonsense, like ancient creatures, mythological beasts, and the biggest threat they ever face is just a man with a gun. It really it comes as such a shock because it's just like the real world crashes into this fictional world that you've been having so much fun in.
Honestly, a lot of shows keep trying to be like Buffy, and we need a show in that spirit. No, people should stop trying to rewrite Whedon dialogue. For one, Whedon speak. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't mind hearing it in Buffy, but I'm like, comic books have been doing it for years now. It's like, can we end this? Can we have some normal?
What do you mean by it? Like specifically, or
Whedon speak is like quippy little as if, like it worked in Buffy and Angel. It was great in that, but comic books, everything is written in that kind of snarky, cutesy, and it's not done well. That's the thing, is if you try to emulate somebody but you're not good at it, you need to stop. And we need more storytelling in comic books specifically needs to really go back to basics. We need a stoic Batman. We need a heroic Superman, because things have been so deconstructed. It's like overly deconstructed where it's falling apart and going to pieces. And we need something built back up. Buffy was like the perfect show for then, because it was kind of a deconstruction of tropes and stuff, but done in the frame of it still was fun. It still was like supposed to be fun. I think
it started as a trope subvert, and then it sort of just evolved because, like, the whole premise being it's a girl in an alleyway being chased by a monster, but she beats the shit out of it. You're like, oh, all right, I'll go with this. And then the show, just because the characters get so detailed that they just take the show with them,
That's the sign of a good show, is when it starts out, with a premise, and then it evolves and it just becomes itself.
Actually the only show as well that's resurrected a character in a way that I don't think I have any issues with whatsoever, because resurrections are tough for me. Like, I'm always like, okay, you brought him back, that's fine. Like, even Game of Thrones with Jon, I was just like, yeah, I mean, that's just something that can happen. Kind of lessons that it was fine. But with Buffy, man, they really don't make it pleasant. They make it, and it controls the narrative for a whole season as well. The emotional damage, how they've changed it physically as well. It's just
Honestly, yeah. And then she doesn't really get over it till maybe the very end, maybe. And when they do the big reveal, they do it in a musical episode.
Oh yeah, I love that
God
episode.
damn, that's so good. Yeah, Once More with Feeling. Shit. They perform that in theaters here in San Francisco. Okay, I really got to go. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
MauLer,
Go ahead.
you're freaking. You guys are great. Everybody, McQueen. I know. Did I tell you I tried? Oh, you just gave me an idea, Dr. Meatball. That's how I should spell it on my T-shirt. Maybe that'll fuck with their algorithm. They Teespring wasn't letting me make a McQueen shirt. Maybe I'll just do it with spaces like that. That's a good idea. I'll try that. All right. Everybody subscribe to MauLer. Everybody go to nerdrotic.com for my live stream schedule. My next live stream will be Friday night at 7 p.m. I will have guests. I don't know who. I'm probably I'm going to invite Jeremy. I don't know I think he's out of town, but I'm going to invite Jeremy and other people to come on. And then Sunday, I'm on EFAP.
Yeah,
I'm on EFAP. So, and I'm going to be debating The Expanse for 8 hours. So I'll drink my tea and I'll make sure I pee before I start the show.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be
All
great.
Thank you to all the new subscribers. Oh, by the way, hashtag Vox Adpocalypse. No matter who says what or where they say it, they have the right to say it. You have the right to disagree and turn it off. That's it. That's all. We do not deplatform people here. And even if they make videos about me and how much of a dick I am, they have every right to do it, and I will never stop them. So thank you, everybody. Remember that. Please support independent creators, and may the free folk sing songs of your greatness.